Today, we're going to have a low key, chill live stream about RFK's confirmation live. Of course, I checked out a little bit of it. It's going to be going on for a couple hours, but my real concern is not what all the senators are saying or what he's saying. I've heard it before. My concern and the concern of the American people is that RFK Jr. gets confirmed. So we're going to look for updates to see if it actually went through. I don't feel like listening to Democrats and rhino Republicans grill him on raw milk and vaccines. I just hope he gets confirmed. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to look at the current market and odds to see what are the chances that he does get confirmed, what are the chances that Tulsi gets confirmed, and then what are the chances that Kash Patel gets confirmed, and how likely they are kind of says a lot about other stuff. So we'll talk about it. Dreamer podcast starts now. Like I said, it's going to be pretty low key today. And then at the end, I will talk about Trump is pushing a lot of executive orders and a lot of stuff, but there's one on anti-Semitism to deport people on visas that are protesting. And I think it's a very interesting and newsworthy one. So we'll probably talk about that at the end because I have a lot of info on that. Dreamer podcast starts now. Thank you for being here. Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble, and anybody else.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
What's going on, folks? We got Hungry for Truth and Marie. RFK speaking now. I'm no disrespect. I mean, God bless the guy. I was thinking about maybe I could watch it for an hour, but I know what he's going to say. I've heard his speech before. I know what the people against him are going to say. It's cool if you guys want to tune into that. That's all right. I just wanted to go live and have my own conversation about other stuff because at the end of the day, either they're going to confirm him or not. And, I just don't feel like hearing the back and forth. Just let the guy get into HHS, and it's pretty iconic day for America. If he doesn't, I think it's going to be a rude awakening for the establishment because there's millions of people that really want Bobby in. So I think he'll get in. I'll just let you guys know off the jump, I did a little bit of research to see who's likely to get confirmed. And according to the market and the odds, of course, this is just an estimation of how likely it is based on all the information available. It says that Kash Patel, which is tomorrow, has a over 90% chance of getting in. I think I have to look it up. Is he the FBI or the CIA? Let me see. Sorry. I should know this. It's been a minute. I think he's the FBI, right? FBI director. Kash Patel is Trump's FBI nominee. Yeah, that's what I thought. And then the Ratcliffe guy is the CIA, I believe. But anyway, now I got to look that up because if I'm wrong about that, it's like Ratcliffe, CIA. Yeah, CIA, John Ratcliffe. Okay. Anyway, Kash Patel is most likely to get in with an over 90% chance. Tulsi Gabbard has a 50-50 chance, and RFK Jr. has like a 73% chance. So likely RFK will get in. And Tulsi is the one that has the most likelihood of not getting in. This is what I thought beforehand, even before I looked at the betting odds. I was like, I thought Kash would probably get in. I thought that RFK was iffy, but likely, and Tulsi was the one that might get rejected. And that looks like it lines up with the odds. I want to explain why I would say the Tulsi side. Tulsi is 50-50, even though she was a Democrat. A lot of people are missing this because they look at everything through like a Republican lens or a Democrat lens, like, oh, she's a Democrat. And, that's that. I understand. Yeah, I'm not asking you to fully trust her or whatever, but Tulsi Gabbard really heavily opposed U.S. and CIA intervention in Syria. Tulsi Gabbard flew to Syria to meet with Bashar al-Assad, who has now had to flee because the deep state in America essentially won the war in Syria and, overthrew his regime like they have many in the world. And Tulsi Gabbard went on, I almost said CIA, CNN. What's the difference, right? No, just kidding. But yeah, you guys get it. But CNN, she went on CNN Live and she said, essentially, the U.S. is funding terrorists in Syria and everybody there in Syria hates it. So that's why Tulsi Gabbard, for those who are confused, some will say, well, she caved on this policy or she's really not an outsider. You can say what you want. I'm not asking you to trust a politician. If, you don't have to. But I'm just telling people this is why she has a 50-50 chance. If she was 100% establishment, she would get in easy like all the other people are. The reason that she has such an opposition is because of her opposition to the war in Syria. that's a big deal for the intelligence communities. The intelligence communities, people like Lindsey Graham, et cetera, they work in lockstep and they have all the same ideas, and nobody's really allowed to disagree because in many ways, they look at it as if it's a threat to American, I would say security, the security state or the deep state, as they call it. They feel like their agenda is the right agenda, and anybody who disagrees or questions them, that's what, the CIA, they're always like just tricking people and whatever. That's part of their motto. They're like, Pompeo was like, we lied, we do this, we do that. It's because they have an agenda, especially in the Middle East, with Syria, with Israel, with all these countries. And it's like anybody that gets in their way in any way is like a huge problem, and they hate it. It doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not. Tulsi, that's what I liked about her, was she gave an alternate perspective on Syria. And even Donald Trump, ultimately, it didn't seem to work in the long term, but he cut the CIA funding in Syria, which is one of the many reasons that even though Trump does work with the establishment, and even though Trump does, in some cases, push their foreign policy, in some cases, Trump doesn't. And that's the same thing with Tulsi Gabbard. Like, there's layers to who's sold out. And even if somebody's kind of sold out, there's a difference between Trump and Lindsey Graham. There's a difference between Tulsi Gabbard and Adam Schiff. And I'm just explaining, you don't have to, essentially trust anybody, but that is why Tulsi Gabbard has the most likely chance to get denied, because the intelligence apparatus, the deep state apparatus, the security state is a very tight-knit community that likes people that play ball. And Tulsi has a track record of not playing ball. Now she's trying to play ball and backpedal and be like, no, I'll work with you guys. But they don't forget the fact that she didn't back in the day. So that's just an explanation. Regardless of what you think, that's why she has the hardest chance to get confirmed. Let's get to RFK Jr., the reason a lot of people might be here. RFK, obviously, he's an interesting character because he is a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat from a family of the most popular Democrats, I would argue, in U.S. history, definitely top 5, the Kennedy family. And, he's probably got a lot of friends in the Democratic Party. He's definitely been working in environmentalism and activism in pharmaceuticals for decades. He's got so many relationships in Washington. So there's a chance that a lot of people will vote for him. And especially with HHS. I mean, for those who don't know, and for those who do, the HHS, when Trump said he was going to appoint Bobby Kennedy to HHS, I was thrilled because that's the highest level on the pyramid. Everybody talks about Fauci because Fauci is like a character who's been there for decades. But where Fauci was, I believe it was at the National Institute of Infectious Diseases. I think it's like the NIAID or something, infectious disease. You could look it up if you want. But that's so low on the totem pole. I'm not saying they don't have power, because just because you're at the top doesn't mean you're the one making all the decisions. Sometimes it's oversight, but HHS is the top of the health pyramid. It's HHS. Below it is CDC, FDA, even lower than that, National Institute of Infectious Diseases. So Trump didn't just give Bobby Kennedy a quick position like, thank you, Bobby, for your votes. That's what I thought Trump was going to do, to be honest. It takes some pretty brass balls to put Bobby at the head of HHS. I didn't even expect that. I had no expectations, but at the same time, I was like, there's no way he's going to give him that position. The fact that he did is pretty awesome. I mean, that's like a huge move. And I think that Bobby Kennedy at HHS is one of the best positions in modern history, because he has such a deep understanding of the Food and Drug Administration, the chemicals in the food, the processing. It's such a big deal that a lot of people don't care about. But the thing is, even with myself, I know, because I have a Facebook page, I have a Twitter page, I have an Instagram page. On Facebook, I have a lot of people, but definitely it's a lot of older Republicans, conservatives, which is great. I'm not complaining. On Twitter, it's more edgy. You're more in the fray of the cultural battle going on between the two sides of the right. And on my Instagram page, I have a little bit of everything, but it's a lot of holistic people that are into health. And my Instagram crowd, more than anything else, is more of an RFK Jr. crowd, because there's millions upon tens of millions upon hundreds of millions of people that have looked into seed oils and pharmaceuticals. And it's so, at this point, it's like when a state goes too far left and then they start swinging back right because of all the bad policies you see in San Francisco. They voted out. I mean, they're still far left, but they voted out the bad prosecutor. In LA, they voted out the bad prosecutor. Things get so bad, and then you start to swing the other way. That's American health. I mean, you look at obesity rates, chronic disease rates, the commercials. I remember growing up as a kid, they didn't have all these pharmacy commercials. They probably had the food that led us to the pharmacy commercials. But at the same time, it's like, it's disgusting for me to watch television. Everything's a pharmaceutical ad. It makes you feel disgusting. The side effects are like disgusting. So, there's so many people that care about this stuff even more than politics, because it's like left, right, blah, blah, blah. Sure. Food, that's what we're all eating. Medicine, that's what everybody's taking. This is so important. This is probably the most important confirmation, or at least one of them in modern history. So a lot of people are tapped into this. And Bobby, like Trump and Bobby are different people. They both serve a purpose, but Bobby's super chill. And he explains it so well. If you listen to Bobby and then you listen to people who hate Bobby, they're not even in the same realm as him. It's like he's explaining so thoroughly, like, this is what's going on. This is the rate of chronic disease. This is the obesity rate. This is this. This is that. This is the liability shields for big pharma. He's so intelligent and he's so calm with how he presents it. And then the other side, raw milk, vaccines. It's like, did you not listen to a word he said? Like, I see Mike Pence on Twitter, and Mike Pence is like, we got to stop Bobby Kennedy. Mike Pence, do you not realize what's going on with the food? And I don't want to yell and get upset today. I got my coffee. I need to stay calm for my own health reasons. But like, are we just going to ignore everything he said and just like make up stuff? Is it because of the pharmaceutical lobby, or are you just stupid? But either way, that's what's going on. And I just, I wanted to go live because this is my time of day that I can go live. I don't feel like listening to the debate today. It's like, I get it. He's going to say the truth. They're going to yell and they're going to complain and they're going to show little grass with raw milk. But is he going to get confirmed? That's what everybody wants to know. So we'll see at the end of the day. I'll give you guys updates if I find any, or let me know in the comment section. But I'm not going to sit and watch 5 hours of annoying uniparty people saying stupid stuff. I get enough of that in my Twitter feed. It's like, let's just see if he gets in or not. But this was going on. I'll read a few of the things in the comments. And yeah, it's going to be like very low key today. If you guys want as well, I'll talk about it at the end, but Trump is passing an executive order. I'll just explain it for now. And if it comes up, we'll talk about it. Trump is working on some sort of executive order, some sort of legislation to stop anti-Semitism, or rather look into universities that receive federal funding. And the argument is Americans have free speech, right? You have the right, if you're an American citizen, you have the right to hate speech, as they call it, and you have the right to protest. But if you're on a visa, you don't have a right to protest, and you don't have a right to hate speech. And if it's hate speech against Israel, then you got to go. Or if it's perceived as hate speech against Israel, even if it's really not, you got to go home. And if you're if you're a college receiving federal funding, you have the right to free speech, but not to government funds. So it's a very layered and interesting conversation, because there's elements of truth that, like, yeah, if you're like, if you're a foreigner in America for a degree, it's like maybe you shouldn't be, camping in a tent on the grass. Because if you're camping in a tent on the grass, you could probably just go home. But at the same time, as I've talked about for years, the definition of anti-Semitism actually makes parts of the Bible illegal. If you post certain Bible verses on X, it comes back as hate speech. So it's not just for Christians. It's also like, if you were to say, for instance, like Ben Shapiro has loyalty to Israel, it's like that's considered anti-Semitism. You're not allowed to say he has loyalty to Israel. There's a whole list. So it's a very fascinating conversation between hate speech, free speech, and I guess foreigners that don't have the same rights as us. But that's not what this live stream's title is, and I'm not trying to be misleading. So maybe at the end we could talk about it if people want. But for now, I'll just read some comments about RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and Kash Patel. But Kash is going to get in almost definitely. And then you got to ask yourself why, right? If Kash Patel is this outsider that everybody's selling him as, he seems like a great guy. He seems like an improvement from the last administration, and I'm excited for Kash Patel. But it's like, if he's going to get confirmed way easier than RFK and Tulsi, the question is why? If RFK is going to get confirmed easier than Tulsi, why? I mean, I think it's because he's made a lot of allies on both sides. And also, he's not in a position of intelligence like Tulsi. I think it's harder probably to get in there, but I don't know. HHS seems pretty hard too with the pharma lobby, but just some things to think about. Someone said RFK is getting grilled right now. Why aren't you watching? Because I don't, to me, this is the theater. Like, I could sit for 4 hours and watch that and report back to you. But if you're interested in that, you can. I'm not saying it's not interesting, but it's like, I get the final destination is RFK gets confirmed or he doesn't get confirmed. I've heard the grilling. I know what they say. I know what he says. I watched his opening speech. It's the same thing he said 100 times. I'm not knocking it. I like what he says, and it's the proper place to say it again because he's about to get confirmed. But it's like, why do I need to take part of the circus when I know in 5 hours either he gets in or he doesn't get in? Like, that's what I'm concerned about. I don't care what, like, Lindsey Graham has to say, hey, I'm Lindsey Graham. I'm Lindsey Graham, and I like sending weapons to the Middle East. It's like, but I also like preservatives in my food. I need red dye. I like red dye. Don't take it out of my Skittles. Taste the rainbow. I'm Lindsey Graham. Are we giving more money to Israel and Ukraine? I'm getting bored. Do I need to watch that? Do I need to subject myself to that to know what's going to go on? Either he's going to get confirmed or he's not. And I'm just letting you guys know too, from a stance of professionalism, this is not my normal microphone. It's a blue microphone. I mean, these ones are good too, but I have like a real podcast mic, and since I'm like building my studio, I'm just going to set the podcast mic up here because honestly, I like this white background. I think it looks pretty slick. I'm not going to keep it forever, but it does feel very minimal. It's minimalistic. It's futuristic. It's what do they call it? Modern. It's modern art. So no, I'm just kidding. But let's see. What's happening to you? Why are you not being yourself anymore? Do you know who I am, TLG? What is myself? Why is my hilarious Lindsey Graham impression? That's not me. I'm not funny. I can't make jokes. Who am I? Who are you? Let's pretend you're the mirror. I'm looking into the mirror right now. Who am I, TLG? YouTube anonymous guy. You must know who I am. So let me know. What do I think about what Caroline had to say? Who's Caroline? Is that Caroline Kennedy? First of all, I don't know how you say physiognomy, like of the family members who hate him, they're all gross to look at and they're all gross energy. Like it's just gross. Like I don't really, I couldn't even watch the video because like it was just hard to look. It was just hard to look at. I'm just being honest. So I'm not like, I mean, I am saying that actually. So I don't know. It's like when Trump's family members come against him, it's all like the weirdest ones. Like, I hate my uncle. I hate my uncle. Give me attention. It's like, okay. Like, I don't know. I get it. Like he's got dozens of psychotic left-wing family members and the weirdest ones don't like him. Cool. Next. Someone said anomaly ages like wine or fine cheese. Thank you. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me today so far. So thank you for that. She went really hard and I couldn't look at it for more than 10 seconds. Like I don't even want to talk about it, but it's like, did you see what I saw? I was just like, I hate my uncle RFK Jr. I'm like, I had to turn off and watch some like content on YouTube. I was like, it's getting spooked just listening to it. But like to teach their own. Some people would take 20 minutes out of their day to listen to that whole thing. 5 seconds for me, I had to like run away from my screen and wash my hands. But anyway, Will we actually know the result today or will this drag on? Well, I did my research to see how long the Pete Hegseth one took. It took 4 hours. So that's what I'm saying. Like, am I really going to watch my TV for 4 hours and be like, it's like either he gets confirmed or he doesn't. I get it. Like, I like listening to things sometimes. I'm not knocking people who do, but I had the decision. I'm like, do I sit and stare at my screen for 4 hours or do I go live? And I said, I'm going live. Would I be president? In this reality, in a hypothetical reality, like I don't get what you're asking. Am I president? No. Am I running for president? No. Could I one day be president? Probably not. Possibly. I believe in myself, but I don't see that. I would say there's like a less than 1% chance, if I could make odds. Great seeing you live. Love your work. Thank you, Hogan. I appreciate you. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And the applesauce doesn't fall far from the apple. You got to chop it up and grind it up. And the apple slices don't fall far from the knife. Am I right, folks? Now I hear what you're saying. Let's see. People are already like arguing with each other on Facebook. Sometimes people are arguing and I think they're talking to me. They're like, screw you. I'm like, me. They're like, not you, him. And it's like, you're arguing with somebody in my live stream. I mean, maybe I'm not trying to act like I'm better than people because I watch live streams. I comment, like I'm not like I'm so much better than commenting. Like then I would have no audience if I treated people that way. But what I'm saying is like, I watch other live streams. I comment. I've never once argued with someone in someone else's live stream live. Like it's like you're at like a Green Day concert and you're just like fighting with someone in the stands. You're like, that's the vibe of it where it's like, you. It's like, bro, just watch the if you can't watch the show, you both need to leave. You know what I'm saying? Like I watch and comment. I've never once thought, let me pick a fight for 10 minutes in the comment section of a live stream with someone else. Like, can you take it somewhere else or don't? Can you both stop? Can you grow up? Sorry, I got something in my eye. Unprofessional. Hold on. I should have lubricated my eyes before this. Anyway, that was embarrassing. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. What's up, Anomaly? The topic of the day. What I have up here. Someone said, "Nom, make more noms." That's the goal, but I'm not trying to just impregnate any old harpy out here. I gotta be laser focused. I need a winner. I need someone that's loyal. So. In order to get, I'm not making excuses, but in order to get where I got to, I had to focus in my 20s. I wasn't like dating to marry. I was like, get out of my way. I got dreams. Get out of my way, Jezebel. She's like, but I'm your friend. I was like, I don't care. I'm a rapper. No, but seriously though, I'm older now. I'm definitely trying to date and marry, but I'm not just going to like impregnate anyone just so I could have a kid. Got 3 baby mamas out here. You know what I'm saying? Now I got to take out a loan. Now I got to take out a usury loan because I got too many kids. I don't want that to happen. I just got here. I work my heart out, Anyway, it's not about me. It's about RFK Jr. and how many kids he has. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. There's a difference between friendly debating and arguing. No, I got you. I mean, do what you got to do. Listen, don't listen to me. If I'm like, stop fighting in the comments and you want to fight in the comments, do what you got to do, but just be friendly, don't be crazy. Let's see. Billy Joe Armstrong likes to fight all the time too. I guess that's a bad example because people do mosh pit at like shows like that. So anyway, it's not the best show in the world. If you want something professional, listen to Sean Hannity. He'll be like, hey, I got a Nerf football in my hand. Whoa, I threw a Nerf football. Now I'm starting a war with Iran. You're like, but he's got a suit on. I applied for a press pass. They say they want influencers or whatever, a press pass. So like to give press passes to. So I applied for one of those. And I hope I get it because I got some really good questions. And I know if I do somehow get a press pass and I ask my questions, I know that the media is going to smear me and try to ruin my life, but I'm okay with it. I mean, obviously I don't want it to happen, but if there's a fork in the road, it's like, go for it or let them scare you. I'm not going to let them scare me. I'm going to just, and my questions are journalistic. It's just like, I know the game they play. I got some good questions and I know that it's going to come at a huge cost, but it's okay. Someone said, now you love Trump, anomalize. Oh, that's funny because I have long hair. Anomaly with lice, anomalize. It's a good one. I just report. I like certain things he does. I don't like certain things. I don't know. Like, I'm never going to please people that just want to be pissed off all the time. And I'm never going to be pleased that would lick his toes in order to like get a press pass. I don't know. I'm not going to be who you want me to be. So if either side is going to get bothered by what I do, I'm pretty consistent and my reporting ages really well. If you have some feelings about it, then, maybe go watch Mr. Beast or something, or don't. I don't know. Let's see. They are watching this video to see if you qualify. Well, if being hilarious is part of the checklist, then I guess I don't know. Maybe. I'm sure I'm not like, oh, I'm so special, but I'm sure a lot of the people know who I am already. Like, I've been in this since like 2018, 2016, really. So I'm sure like if my name comes up and there's at least like 6 people there, I doubt none of them know who I am. So it depends how much they like me or value my followers. I have a lot of followers. Let me in. Give me a press pass. But I do have. I don't know. Do they like Facebook? I have a lot of followers there. I don't know what the prerequisite is, but I don't. It's whatever. I'm not really. I don't like Washington D.C. So to be honest, like I don't want to go there. But if I get a press pass, I'll go there. I'm not going to live there, but I'll go there for a week. If I stay at a hotel, I'll fund it by myself. I bet people would help me crowdfund, but I don't need the money. So I'm not going to like beg for like $5,000. I'll just spend it. And then, I'm saying go into debt and then just, start an OnlyFans account in 4 years if I have to. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, you deserve a press pass. I mean, if it's meant to be, it'll be. If it's not, it's not. It's okay. But thank you. Yeah, I have good questions. I have really good questions. I have a list of 5 questions already that I'd want to ask that no one's ever asked. So I would frame it nicely, but you have to understand they don't care how nice you are. Like I learned that the hard way. If you cross the lines of something that they're trying to do, that they're going to make you look crazy anyway. So it's whatever, or they're going to try. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you. I just don't like Washington, D.C. because first of all, it's like 95% liberal, which is frightening to even think about. And then it's like super political. Like everyone, when I was in D.C., I went because, I was invited to a White House event in 2018. Like it just feels like so douchey. Like political people, in my opinion, are like, not all, there's a lot of great people, but it's like, it's a lot of like really douchey people, and they're all like talking loudly on their phone, like buy, sell, like I just don't like the vibe there. It's like it's too liberal, it's too political, it's dirty, it's got a lot of homeless, it's gross. It's like, do we have no shame in this country anymore? We can't clean up that city now. We just got to have like crackheads outside the White House. I was unimpressed. I mean, the White House was like an honor of my lifetime. That was amazing, but as far as DC as a city, it's like, yeah, I wouldn't live there. At this point in my life, there's not enough money that could make me live in that state. I mean, maybe like 5 million or something. Maybe I'd live there for a year if you paid me that much, but then I'd have to lock my doors because I wouldn't want to get Seth rich. You know what I mean? But anyway. Do we really need HHS? Yeah. I mean, I guess, you're talking about the AI vaccine. Dude, I need 17 AI vaccines. I mean, 16 is just not enough. I need 17 artificial intelligence vaccines. Just put a vaccine right in my head. Just Neuralink a vaccine right in my head so I could, stop being so fat. I gained weight last year. Maybe there's an AI vaccine that can make me work out. It's like, dude, can we just go back to like health standards of the 60s when nobody was fat? No, we got to do all this. Rola Costa, or Roya Costa if you're Spanish, get it 2 L's, is a ella. Anyway, Anomaly, are you an anarchist or a volunteerist? No, I'm not an anarchist and I'm not a volunteerist. A lot of libertarians and anarchists like me because I'm honest about the Republican Party and how far left they are fiscally. But I'm not an anarchist and I'm not a libertarian either. I call it like I see it. So there's overlaps between me and a lot of people, and most Republicans, especially like Christian Republicans, not all of them, I don't want to like stereotype, but they tend to like just be like, they don't notice the fact that like Republicans print more money than a communist on steroids. And I do. So I don't identify as an anarchist or even a libertarian, but I do think liberty-based principles and libertarianism has like a lot of great ideas that make sense. Someone said there was no 20 million immigrants during Biden. Didn't happen. Well, I don't know if the number's 20 million, but it definitely wasn't 0. And I bet it was over a couple million, but I have no idea. I wasn't keeping track, nor did I. I don't think I ever said that. But where have I been? I moved, and yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into the specifics, but I moved, and it took a lot to like clear my house. I got really sick in December. I was sick for like weeks. I tried to go live, like my throat was messed up. It was crazy. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I was like moving and I was sick, so like it took weeks to get, like I had to give away stuff. Like I gave some of my stuff away to people because I couldn't take it with me. And I had to leave a place, then I had to move into a place, then I had to fill it with furniture. So, and it was Christmas. I spent time with my family. So I kind of just stopped posting videos. But the thing is, not to brag, but like I'm crushing it on other platforms. Like on Facebook this month, I reached 82 million people. 82 million. $0 in ads. I have to talk about myself because nobody else will, because I don't get good press because I'm not connected to anybody. But there's so many people that they run ads and they pretend like they're such big influencers because they get sponsors and they get money from a bunch of companies. Like I'm doing bigger numbers than most of these people. I just don't talk about it all the time. 82 million people, $0 in ads. Like that, my Facebook page is one of the biggest pages in the world. You look at some other pages, they got 20 million followers. They're getting like 20 comments. I'm getting thousands of comments. Me and the Facebook community, we're crushing. And I want to say too, if you follow me on Facebook, none of this happens without you. If you guys don't care and communicate and have fun with me, then none of this is possible. So I've actually been enjoying Facebook a lot recently. Like I just post news stories, and I think I do a good job of like figuring out what's important and just trying to like, you know, just throw it out there and present people with accurate information about what's going on. So then they could have their own perspective about it. I try to not, obviously I have my own opinions, but I try to just like do what I would like to see in my feed, you know? But anyway, the fact that I'm allowed to is sus. I get that you could think that, but I don't know. I understand the skepticism. I'm grateful and I'm extremely, proud of myself in many extent because I know what it took to get there. But if that is a red flag to you, it is what it is. I don't not get it. It's like I've watched what's happened the last 10 years. So it's like when Elon was cool, like I liked what he was doing, but I never trusted him because I was like, really? But someone said, Anomaly, you talked about the immigration problem every day for a year. Let me put it this way, my guy, because we can have this conversation. What Biden was doing with border security and letting people in, it was just sloppy and reckless. I'm not out here to count the numbers. Was it 5 million? Was it 10 million? You're saying it wasn't 20 million. I've never said it was 20 million. It was too many people who came across in a way that just doesn't make sense. So now there's a lot of backtracking going on to make up for that. But there has to be a real conversation about immigration, legal and illegal, because when you just act like it's not happening, nobody believes you and you're going to lose all around the world because it's a huge issue. I talked to somebody that lives in Poland and they told me that Ukrainian immigrants are coming legally as refugees, but they're coming and demanding government welfare, and they're just rude to a lot of people in Poland. It's like people in Poland don't hate Ukraine. They let a bunch of people in. But it's like if you let a bunch of people in, they're not assimilating, and they're demanding more government handouts than the Polish people get. People are going to get pissed off. It doesn't matter their skin color. It's just like, that's annoying. And if you look at Europe, if you look at Germany, if you look at England, there's massive immigration problems. Canada's having a massive legal immigration problem. America has a legal and illegal immigration problem. So it's like, it's not to blame other people, but if you're not going to have an honest conversation about what's right and what's wrong and what is, people are not going to be happy about, I don't want to get into specifics, but in general, it's like, I know people that are Mexican that came here at a young age. And it's like, they've told me the difference between even illegal immigrants, where it's like 20, 30 years ago, everybody worked. Nobody expected everything. Now, because of Democrats and the policies that they've created, you have people coming over here that don't even want to work, that just want government programs. And the thing is, I'm not trying to stereotype, but to give a compliment, most Mexican people work very hard and they're very honorable. But the thing is, when you have weak policies, people start to take advantage of it. And I guarantee you that there's even illegal immigrant Mexicans who are pissed off at the new illegal immigrant Mexicans because they don't work as hard as they used to. So it's like there's nuance to all these conversations. But if you're a phony and you just act like you have this fake moral high ground, we can never get to the truth of what's really going on. And the truth is the Western world is being weak. Europe is weak. America's weak. Canada's weak. And people exploit weak countries. We need strong laws and common sense and real conversations to get through it, because it's like, of course there is a conversation with illegal immigration and legal immigration, but there's also a nuanced conversation within that where it's like, I guarantee you there are millions of illegal immigrants in America that are pissed off at the newer ones that are approaching it from a different place of like, I'm going to come over here and work my ass off and really do what I can to make it in this country, versus like, oh, I got a lawyer from the Democrats. Oh, I could sue and get $50,000. It's like, that's not what it used to be. This is not the same country it was 15 years ago from every level of legal immigration, illegal immigration. And like I talk about last podcast, everyone says, oh, we're just a melting pot and we just take in everyone from everywhere with no rhyme or reason. It's like, that's also not historically true. The Hart-Celler Act completely changed that. And everybody looks at like the 50s and 60s and 70s. And of course, some things got better. There was a decline, like the 90s were great. And then everyone's like complaining now. Inflation is high. Like, you know, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. And it's like, in order to figure out what's going wrong, you got to have a conversation about this. You can't just be like, there is no such thing as border. Love is love. And, you know, it's like, we're just a melting pot from everywhere. It's like, you know, that's not how it was. They used to make people assimilate. So when I made that video too, people were in the comments, they're like, I go to my grocery store, nobody's speaking English. People who speak English in America have a right to be annoyed, just like Japanese immigrants have a right to be annoyed if nobody's speaking Japanese in Tokyo. It's not like your right as a foreigner to be like, that's racist. It's like, no, they don't want their country to change to the point where they lose their identity. That's not racist. It's just, that's their, you know, I could say prerogative, I guess, but that's their preference is probably the word I was looking for. No, white people and Americans can't have that preference. But the thing is, America is already diverse, and there's already millions of people that aren't white that also feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's Indians in America that agree with everything I'm saying. There's Mexicans in America that agree with everything I'm saying. There's black people, white people, like this idea that we all have this, it's like we've been lied to, and everybody knows. So I'm not really tripping on this. Like, I just, as long as I'm being accurate and honest, I know, like, I meet people all the time off and on the internet that are just like not white that agree with me too. But I don't care. Like, it's not a race thing. I'm just saying, like, it's not like only white people think this way. It's like, no, a lot of people came to America to escape where they came from. They're not trying to change this country into where they left. You know, like, I have friends that are Brazilian. They don't want America to be like Brazil. And I guarantee you they're not like in a rush to import a bunch of Brazilians. Of course, they want their friends to come and stuff, but they're happy with the demographics of America now. They're not looking to like turn it into where they left on multiple levels. So someone said, you're right. I appreciate it. Juanito Chavez. See, we got real diversity is people who agree with me that don't suck. That's, you know, there's diversity there too. We got everybody. Anomaly, what's your take on the new Facebook policy regarding fact checkers? It seems like they're admitting defeat and they're going with the same thing that Twitter is doing, which is significantly better. So the Facebook fact checkers of the past were a disaster. So I mean, I think Facebook is basically admitting defeat and they're caving. So this is why I like Elon Musk, but I don't trust him in some ways. He's the reason they did this. Like, with no Elon Musk buying X, there is no Facebook rescinding fact checkers. With no Elon Musk buying X, there is no Facebook starting to compensate users and people for, you know, posting. That, like, Facebook was not sharing certain parts of the revenue until X did it. X started paying people to post and creators to post. And then Facebook shifted their policy to match, like, as a creator, they matched X's policy. So Elon has innovated social media and he's forced Facebook to, you know, back off a little bit. So, I mean, it's a good thing in my opinion, but it's, you know, you do have to give Elon Musk some credit, and also us, the people who, you know, in my opinion, voted Republican and proved that we have enough numbers to shift the culture. And this is another thing. Like, I don't care if you didn't vote. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, like, the people that are like, how dare you voted? If Republicans didn't win the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the popular vote, there wouldn't be this cultural shift on social media. The DEI programs wouldn't be shutting down if Kamala won. Like, yes, of course, the uniparty does control some things, and Trump does do some things for his donors, but there is strength in numbers. And this election did talk. I do believe that this election is the reason a lot of this is doing. So I respect people's, you know, decision not to vote, but when people come and, you know, get crazy at me because I voted, it's like they'll reap the benefits of the culture shift and the election shift, but then, you know, they'll bitch at everybody that made it happen. Excuse my language. I was trying not to curse today. I'm working on it. Someone said, just FYI, that paper coffee cup is lined with plastic and the hot liquid breaks it down and releases microplastics in your stomach. Yeah, I'm on a microplastic diet. I don't know. I heard it somewhere online where it's like you just, you try to fast a little bit, eat some microplastic and, reach ketosis. So I'm on that very rare microplastic diet anyway. Thanks for the heads up. But yeah, I'm good. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I got you. I'm not going to carry around glass all the time, but I do like to, I'm going to get some microplastics from this too real quick while I'm at it. Hold on. It's tasty. I think it's strawberry flavored microplastics in that one. Someone said Elon Musk supports the AfD party here in Germany because they want to reduce bureaucracy. Well, they definitely seem like the lesser of two evil parties for sure. Hopefully you guys win. Good luck. Someone said, bro, I remember when you were living in LA. I did live in LA, so that memory is true. Someone said Petromaxing. Yeah, dude, you got a plastic max, Petromax a little bit on them. You know what I'm saying? If you really got a good immune system in the body, you could take those microplastics and just beat them up with my immune system. Inside, there's an internal battle. It's like UFC Saudi Arabia in my gut right now, just trying to battle for my body. I don't know what to tell you. Anomaly, I just realized you sound like Adam Sandler. Okay, we need to have a conversation in the comment sections. Do I sound like Adam Sandler? Yes, if you think I sound like Adam Sandler. No, if you don't. I don't think I sound like Adam Sandler, but I'm not trying to sway the poll. Let's see. I gotta read it back. Do I sound like Adam Sandler? Yeses and nos. And I'm just stalling because it's gonna take like 10 seconds. All right, I just took off the cap because someone said the black cap causes problems too, and now I stained my freaking table. No. Pretty much everyone's saying no except for one person. Ooh, Adam. Wait, let me try to do it. That was a terrible Adam Sandler. Can we cut that out? Hold on. I'm trying to think of Adam Sandler. He'll be like, ooh, like he always does like that weird. I've never thought about how to do an Adam Sandler impression, so I gotta think about it. It's like, yoo-hoo. Hello. It's like something like that. I don't know. I gotta give me like a day or two and I'll have a better Adam Sandler impression. I just never thought about it. That's not good. That's like a 4 out of 10. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I'm trying to save myself from the microplastics right now. When am I dropping another song? I'm not sure, but me and Bryson Gray, we recorded a song with Bryce Mitchell, the UFC fighter. Bryce is a good rapper. He's a really good rapper. I saw him drop bars, so I messaged him and I said, hey, Bryce, you want to do a song with me and Bryson? And he was like, I'm down. So me and Bryson recorded a song with him. I think it's really fire. So I hope we're just waiting on Bryce Mitchell's verse. So when Bryce Mitchell does the verse, we got a banger for sure. It's a Christian banger for the people. I'm pretty pumped about it. Someone said that was pretty good. I need to work on it. I'll do it. I think it's just some pitch tones. I'm going to have a good Adam Sandler impression. I got a good Trump. I got a good Bernie Sanders. I'm trying to think. I got a good like Seth Rogen. I mean, it's not accurate, but it's funny. I'm trying to think who else I do pretty well. I do Ben Shapiro pretty good. I'm like a C tier impersonator. Definitely not A. I've heard some people that are like really good, but I'll give myself a C. Have I thought about doing a Rip-a-verse song? I don't know who that is. Is that like a universe or Rip-a-verse? What's going on with my Facebook? I don't know what's going on with it. We okay? We doing all right there? People are like always making stuff up. Let's see if there's any updates on RFK. Hold on, I gotta look into this. Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna just pull up. Maybe I'll just do it on my phone. All right. Let me see. You missed the background I have behind me. I'm gonna make a good one. Just give me like a month. RFK just told Ron Wyden he'll respond to him in the form of push-ups. Is that true? Is he doing push-ups out here? RFK Jr. President Trump has personally spoken to me about locating these 300 children that have disappeared. I mean, not obviously that's important, but it's like that has nothing to do with his confirmation. I mean, it's going to take a while, so nothing going on. You're seeing videos from 2021 on my Facebook page. What's going on with it? I don't know. Is that a bad thing? Like, that's good for my algorithm if you're seeing old videos. I don't know why, but I don't know. Like, you got to talk to Mark Zuckerberg, give him a call. You keep putting in ads and I keep losing your feed. There's a glitch on Facebook where it's only showing 2021 stuff. It must be a glitch then. If it's not, hopefully it's not just me. Did I talk about the anti-Semitism law? Not yet, but I definitely can. You keep putting in ads and it keep losing your feed. Yeah, the ads are popping up and it's kicking you off. It might be like an error, but I think they run ads to pay me, but I don't really make much money on videos anymore on Facebook because they never show my videos. So it's okay. I got to just post pictures and memes. Wonder what RFK thinks about the Project Stargate mRNA stuff. I'm sure he disagrees with it, but the thing is, like, here's what I want to say too, because I'm going to just try to explain this without coming across rude, but like, people were like, why is RFK not talking about Project Stargate? Bro, he's trying to get into HHS. His political career is in the balance right now. Like, why do people need RFK to tweet about Project mRNA? I get that he's the HHS director, but he's not in yet. So it's like, it's smart for RFK to be quiet for a few weeks, try to get in, and then eventually make a statement on it because he's the head of HHS. But right now, people want him to like say something right now on Twitter. Why does what he says on Twitter even matter? Like, it's just Twitter. It's just a public statement. So like, some people will hate RFK because he didn't talk about Project Stargate, but it literally makes no sense for him to do that right now. When if he shuts his mouth for 3 weeks, he could get in as the HHS director, and then he's the most powerful health person in the land. It's like, people are so worried, like, why don't you talk about this right now? I don't know, like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I just talked about it. Did anything change? No? Then shut up. You know, like, of course, I'll weigh in on stuff when I weigh in on it, and I'm not going to lie to you about it, but it's like, some people are like, I want it right now. I want you to say this right now for me. It's like, shut up. You like, give the guy 3 weeks. Give him 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Give him a couple months, you know, like, relax. Like, I get it, but there's no strategic incentive for him to say it right now. Like, it's like, relax. People are just so annoying. What happened to the Elon Zuckerberg cage fight? I don't know, but that was a great fight. I was excited for that. That would be the funniest fight ever. It would be way better than Logan Paul and Mike Tyson for sure. It's funny because I watch fighting all the time. I'm like a big, combat sports fan, but it's like 99% of people don't. And then it's like that fight everybody watched and they're like, boxing sucks now. It's like, you watch Mike Tyson at 60, who, you know, has the body of like an 80-year-old. And I'm not Mike Tyson could probably still beat me up to some extent, but I don't know. For his age, he's like, his legs were rough. He couldn't really move. Like, I like Mike Tyson, but it's like, people I knew that was going to be a terrible fight to some extent, but sort of funny. Everyone's like, this is what it is now. It's like, you pick the worst fight to watch and be a fan of, but I get it. It's interesting. Someone said, what do I think of RFK Jr.? Caroline Kennedy came out blasting him. Yeah, I mean, he's got family members that are very diametrically opposed to his politics, so they're going to try to ruin his confirmation. I think it was Paul Gosar. I'm not 100% sure, but there was a Republican that had like 7 family members come out against him because they were all left-wing. And I listened to their logic, and their logic made no sense. They're like, he's racist, he's this, he's that. Like, they just were spouting CNN talking points. To me, it just shows people the power of, of the media. It's like the television can make you hate your cousin, you know, over a disagreement on environmentalism. And it's like, you know, I don't think Caroline Kennedy seems like a very gross person. I'll just say that. But I get it. RFK is RFK. He's not perfect either. I want to see too. Caroline Kennedy, because someone was saying she takes money from Big Pharma. Let's see if she does pharma. How much is she worth? Oh, she's worth over $100 million. I don't know. Some people were saying she's invested in pharmaceuticals. I don't know though. But I don't want to speak on anything that I don't really like fully investigate, but I guess I'm just like, I'm not listening to like unhinged Democrats anymore. Be like, Donald Trump. I don't like Donald Trump. I like Hillary. My uncle. Oh no, I want Kamala. She's a woman. It's like, am I supposed to be like, oh yeah, that seems legit? It's just like, dude, Caroline Kennedy, like that. I looked at that video for 5 seconds and I was like, scroll. It was like, honestly, that was like, I'm not even lying. That was the most frightening thing I've seen all week, was like just looking at her video. I was like, woo. I'm not even trying to be rude or disrespectful or anything like that. I'm just being honest. Some people would think that and not say it. I just said it. I don't know what else to do. It's too late now. That's just how I felt. I looked at it and I was like, did they got an audio version of this or something? Because like, it's just something like, I don't know. Like, we all have our things, but some people feel that way about RFK Jr.'s voice. I get it. It's just like, that's just how I felt. This is my show. It's my story. Where's Vivek now? Doing live streams and, like Charlemagne the God podcasts. But, we'll see. He's like, listen, America is about meritocracy. Okay. It's about meritocracy. Okay. It's not about the color of your skin. Okay. I talk like a robot, but people believe me because I just literally used ChatGPT and I figured out what Republicans meant after I made $1 billion in Big Pharma. Okay. It's like, vibe check. People need discernment. The way I'm sure some discernment is God-given, but in general, you can only meet others as deeply as you've met yourself. So in order to see the truth in others, you have to be honest with yourself. If you lie to yourself, you believe lies in others because you're believing your own lies. It's all a game of self-awareness. So it's like, if you're very honest with yourself, then you'll see it in others. And some people, they just can't see it because they can't tell the truth to themselves. That's my opinion. Anomaly Gandhi signing out. How can anyone choose a side? It's a one-party system. Yeah, I mean, I get why people do certain things, but it's like I've never been a follower, and I just don't follow what other people say. Like, I do the research myself, and at this point too, I'm accumulating knowledge. Like, I've been doing this for 8 years. I read, I research. I don't just believe what other people say. So my baseline now is very high in compared to who I was 10, 15 years ago, because I'm like accumulating knowledge and information that's not just based off other people's opinions, but it's based off the raw facts. And I think that's what people need to do, even with my show. Like, of course, I'm very opinionated. Of course, I disagree with people. But what a lot of people seem to like about me, and what a lot of people, why I think I have millions of followers across social media, besides the fact that I present it well, I want other people to know what I know. I'm not talking like, oh, I know this, but I'm not telling you how I know, and you should just believe me based off my opinion. I'm showing you the information. So a lot of smart people like what I do because it's like I'm showing them so they know, so then they can have their own opinion, in the sense of like, I'm not trying to be someone's leader. I'm trying to be what I would want to see in my feed. I'm trying to give people information that I would want to receive. And I think a lot of times the best way to do that is not necessarily to tell people what to think and call them racist if they disagree, or anti-Semitic, and just like, start getting emotional over it. It's showing you the raw information, so then you can because at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not always going to, like, you're going to go off after this live stream and I'm going to go off and we're going to live our separate lives. But if you can know how to see stuff or find it yourself, then it's like you have a baseline with what you're doing. And I think it's super valuable. So with a lot of stuff, like, people, they're just following Trump. Like, Trump is Elvis and they just are following. That's how so many people got COVID wrong, because they don't think for themselves. They think in terms of like hero and villain, and I like this person, so I agree with everything he says, or he must have a plan. he might not have a plan. It's like, say somebody drunk drove and hit somebody and you don't drink at all. It's like they're not doing it for the best interest of you. They just screwed up because they're different than you and they have different flaws and weaknesses like that. It's like, oh, imagine if someone drove and you're like, oh no, he did it because he wasn't secretly drunk and JFK did this to beat the deep state. It's like, no, that's not how it works. So with anything in politics, with Trump or not, it's like either you care about the truth and the information, or you care about the person. I voted for Trump multiple times now. This is still how I operate because I don't want to mislead people. Like, I would be a terrible journalist like everybody else if I just looked at him and was like, let me make up something in my head. Or you could read the executive order and it says right there. Whenever I talk about anti-Semitism and the definition in America, people, they think what Mark Levin tells them. They think what Sean Hannity tells them. They think what they think anti-Semitism is. And I go to them, I know what you think anti-Semitism is. I know what Mark Levin tells you it is. I know what they tell you it is. Cool. Why don't you read on the State Department website defining anti-Semitism? Because that is the definition they're using, not just all over America, not just in every executive order that they have the word anti-Semitism, but all over the world. It's a global definition called the IHRA anti-Semitism definition. So if you don't read it, you're like, people will say things to me and it's like, you don't realize how dumb you sound because you're saying what you think it is, but I know you're wrong. And if you read this, you would know you're wrong. But a lot of people, they don't want to know the truth. They just want to spout opinions based on the opinions of other people's opinions. And it's like, that's idiocracy. So, it's a fascinating situation, but all I can do is control myself. So I try not to worry about it, but like, people still don't want to know. They just want to like listen to like someone else tell them what to think. Someone said, even corporations are terrified of AI because automated households lead to incorporated families, which leads to the end of the need of corporations. I don't know if that's true, but I would say that AI, a lot of people are excited about it. And I'm sure a lot of people are scared about it because it can drastically change the workforce. It's like, when they created machines to do the work of humans, a lot of people were nervous then. Some people will benefit, some people will lose. That's just the name of the game. Like, some people made $1 billion off it. Some people lost $1 billion off it. It depends who you were, I guess. Someone said, my brother-in-law is waiting to be a resident of the USA since 2011. He was upset by the way Biden ran other immigrants around him working here since the year of 2000. Yeah. Legal immigrants, people applying for visas, people on visas, other immigrants that came before. Like, there's 20 different people who don't like what Joe Biden did, and it's very nuanced. It's not like, oh, everybody hates him because of this. It's like every person has a unique experience. Like, you could, this is how I learned so much too. Like, not just on here. When I go out and I listen to people, like on a personal level, I can separate macro from micro. Micro is different than macro. Like, if you're talking to your neighbor who's from Sudan and he's awesome, that's different than macro running a country and having to import tens of thousands of immigrants. There's a difference there. You as a person should be, nice on a micro level, but on a macro level, there's big decisions to be made. So I think a lot of people can't separate that, where I can. Like, I've met so many interesting people and so many great people. And then it's like, you also see the downsides of what's going on too. And you're like, okay, that needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But it's hard for some people to separate their emotions, where they're like, I know this person from here and they're really nice, so now I don't pay attention. It's like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, there's someone else with a different perspective based on their lived experience and what they've dealt with. And if you're not going to be honest about it, then I don't know what to tell you. Someone said it seems to be phasing out humans. Well, here's the thing. I'm pretty optimistic. So, maybe I'm not the right person to talk to about this, but they said this with machinery too. Like, when people used to be in the fields more and then they built certain machines to do more farming, the narrative was, well, this is going to take away human jobs completely. Computers, same thing. It's going to take away human jobs. Internet. Now, a bunch of people just sit at computers like I'm doing right now. So, I'm not saying it's good, but one thing that I'm doing, like, I have natural sunlight right now. I was shining LED lights in my face and I hated it. So I was like, I need to get natural light in my face because I'm not staring at lights all day. But in general, AI, it could phase out work or it could help people. I mean, I don't. We'll see how it works, but at the end of the day, we got to just figure out ways to utilize it and not like phase people out. There's always going to be value in humanity and human nature and real life interactions. We just got to figure out how to, not let this take over. But Rose on Facebook said, Rose, what do you want to become reality with in America when this administration, after all is said and done? That's a good question. Like, what do I want America to look like in 4 years? I'm not unrealistic. So, I mean, as long as we're on the path to better, then I'm happy. I guess I don't really have expectations anymore. So obviously, if I thought about it for 5 minutes, I could probably come up with a better answer than I'm doing now. But I try to not live in the realm of what I expect to happen. I try to live in the present and like what is happening. So I would say, in 4 years, I'll tell you what I don't want. I do not want another lockdown or money printing or like COVID, because all of Trump's accomplishments for the first time, which to be honest, weren't that many, were all essentially wiped away except for the foreign war one by his COVID actions and his lack of discernment there. I mean, I know it was a hard situation, but I don't think he did a good job the first time. So in my opinion, Trump is doing better in this first week. I'm more impressed. He seems way different in the sense of like he's got more experience. He almost got killed. He won the election in a landslide. He has the culture. He knows how to maneuver. I think he's doing great so far. So, just barring any super negative setback like him, caving to big pharma, it should be good. I mean, we'll see, but anything could happen. But I would say I don't have huge expectations. I just don't want him to blow it again. Like if he doesn't blow it, he leads for 4 years and objectively America's in a better position and he does hundreds of things to make it better on the path of getting better and puts us in a position to get a better leader in 2028 or a similar leader that understands the moment, because this moment's not going to be the moment of 2028. So I'm in a different mindset than I was 4 years ago. I'm not forcing anything, but it's like I'm here now and I'm more interested than even politics of getting the culture to where it needs to be in 2028 so the next president can build off of what Trump's doing. So sorry, that was a long-winded answer, but that's how I feel. I don't have expectations, but I would say on the path to better and on the path to being a great nation that's safe, clean, and a good place to be and good economy for the people here. One thing that is going to be hard for Trump to do is because of inflation and such is like one thing that made America great 50, 60, 70 years ago. Not saying it was perfect, but like if you worked how much did a house cost? How much did food cost? How much did groceries cost? How much did a car cost? You compare the average wage to what you could buy with a wage. You could buy a house, a car, like all these things with a year's worth of salary or 2 years max. Now that's not the case. You got to work like 10 years to afford what you could afford in a year or two back in the day. Like you can't really buy a house in a year's worth of work unless you're in the top 1%. Like an average job is not buying, and even an above average job, it's like you still can't really buy a good house with a couple years worth of work. So it's like, unless you're making millions of dollars a year and banking it and not paying taxes or whatever, or, reinvesting, it's like this country kind of sucks now compared to what it used to be. So this is what I don't expect Trump to do in 4 years, but it's like there's got to be a pathway to that, because that's the real underlying thing. And you could blame Joe Biden and you could blame the egg prices on Trump, but the truth is it's uniparty. It's what Ron Paul was saying. It's what Thomas Massie was saying. It's what libertarians have been saying. That is the truth of the financial system, the Federal Reserve. So, Trump's not he doesn't, in my opinion, have a plan to fix that. But I'm not expecting him to, because it's not easy to do. It requires enough people caring about this and noticing, and then and then people can move towards a solution. But right now it's like it's not easy for one person to just like, oh yeah, let's go back to 1930s level inflation. I don't even know if it's possible. There's a path to that. Absolutely. but it's not. I don't see it happening, or even anyone trying. They're just pretending to try. It's like, can we, for 4 years, trick people into thinking that we're doing this? But if the prices go down and the wages go up, then that's great. But we're still so far away from what it was 70 years ago, in my opinion. And it's sad. It's sad. Even like people are like, start a family, this and that. Like Sam Hyde made a joke in his Elon video. He goes, why would a young man want to start a family? He's like, when he could barely afford Domino's. And it's like, it was a funny joke, but he's also not joking. Like, that was the genius of that video. It's like, yeah, like, start a family. Yeah, I understand. Absolutely. I'm not saying you need money to start a family, but it definitely helps. And it's like, what you can afford with a middle-class salary now is just 10 times lower than what it used to be. And it's like, it's stressful for the mom. It's stressful for the dad. It's, I'm single. I do pretty well for myself, and it's scary. It's scary what's happening in this country. Like, it's not good. So that's not just on Trump, but that's on the American people to really like dial in on like why that's happening and try to figure it out. Someone said the American people don't care about affordability. They do. They just don't know why it's happening. It's like the left thinks it's Trump. The Trump people think it's Democrats, and it's really neither. Like the Democrats are worse. Trump will definitely do things to help. I don't think he has like terrible intentions when it comes to this, but it's just getting a few jobs back here is not going to do it. That's another reason that the H-1B visa debate was so crucial, because it's like, we don't have American workers. It's a math equation. If you have millions of Americans looking for jobs and you bring over millions of people on visas, any types of visas, or hundreds of thousands, no matter what your intentions are, or how great they are, or how high skilled they are, it is a supply and demand. It's going to affect the job market, and it's going to negatively affect Americans. You can't tell me we're bringing in 400,000 people to do jobs you can't do, but it's not going to affect your wage. That's a lie, because when corporations have to pick out of the American pool of talent, they're going to have to match the wages. And the thing is, I'm not a socialist or a communist, but one thing that they're right about is like, these corporations do have the money. They do have the money. The CEOs are making billions of dollars. And the truth is, it's like, if you look at some of the service of what they're doing, they're trying to make as much money as possible. They're trying to, lower the wages, make people work hard, dehumanize them, send it overseas, get a call service in the Philippines. It's like, and God bless Filipinos. I'm just saying, like, that is what they're doing. So it's like, there needs to be a sense of morality in our government, or else all this goes to shit. And like, there's very few billionaires that really care about that sort of stuff, because you almost have to be a sociopath to be a billionaire. But the thing is, I don't know, it's going to take more than like charities. They get all this money and then they're like, I'm a philanthropist. Giving it to a climate change charity doesn't make you a philanthropist. You're just trying to socially engineer the country and push politics in that sector. It's like, like a real CEO would be like, okay, I have $20 billion. That's more money than I could ever use. Maybe I'll work for 5 years for free, put the money back into the thing, raise the wages, put it in America, and make sure people are happy and proud, so then they have better customer service. That's impressive to me. Not like, oh, I gave my money to the Clinton Foundation, I'm a philanthropist. Sure you are. But anyway, that's enough of that. Someone said my husband made $115,000 last year and we still can't afford a house. Clarissa, it's really scary how rough things are. And it's like, if you want to live in a nice area, you got to pay like $1 million for a box now, or like $800,000, $500,000. It's too much. And it's like, compared to $100,000 wage, you think about $100,000 wage, it's like, 5 years, that's $500,000. That's still not affording that house. But also, it's not like you net all the money. You pay taxes, you pay for car insurance, you pay for health insurance, you pay rent, like, it's not like you keep the money. I hear you. I'm very aware of how bad it is. And it's like, it's not like Trump is the false hope in that sense, but I'm not saying he's bad. He's the best option. He will do things to improve the situation, but it's not going to go back to, like, inflation doesn't disappear because you brought a few jobs back. There's like 20 things that need to happen. And I don't know. It's a lot. Someone said 150K is middle class. I would guess that $150,000, and this is not exact, I'm just estimating in my own head. $150,000 salary now is like $50,000 like 10, 15 years ago. Like 150,000 20 years ago when $5 footlongs were a thing at Subway and they actually used good meat, or we thought they did. It's like, yeah, $150,000 is great when you can get a whole lunch for $5. But when that same lunch, to get a foot-long sub from like anywhere is like $20 now, you get a drink, it's $25. You pay for two people, it's $45. $150,000 is not what it used to be. It's like $50,000 now. A $50,000 job now is like $15,000, you know, like $200,000 is like $70,000. It's not like, this economy sucks, and it's not Trump's fault, but he's not going to fix it. And they're not going to tell you they're not going to fix it, because then it's like, why would you vote for them? But I do think Trump will improve the situation, and I think he's the right leader for the time. So it is what it is. But someone said, look at Anomaly's wall. You will own nothing and be happy. Welcome to the Klaus Schwab presentation. It is better, it is minimal to have nothing on the walls. The smaller your apartment and house, the better it truly is, because minimal is the new maximal. Remember when Charmin said less is more? Less is more. You will eat G-bugs, and you will like G-bugs dipped in canola oil, because canola oil is vegetable oil, and vegetables are really, really healthy for you. Eat the vegetable oil. Live in minimalism. Enjoy your 15-minute cyber city. Damn, Coachella sucks this year. Am I right? Anyway. Let's see. Someone said, I'd rather have popcorn moments than just watching paint dry on a wall. Someone said 300K is now what 100K used to be in the 80s, 90s. I definitely think so. Someone said, you know who can afford healthcare and eggs? Israel. Might be true. I never lived there, but they're definitely getting a lot of free money from us, and then they call people anti-Semitic when they notice, but it is what it is, I guess. Is that a Trump impression? No, that was my Klaus Schwab. Come on, it's Klaus Schwab o'clock over here, folks. All right, let's see if RFK got in, or they're just yelling at him right now. Let's see. Let's see. Where are we at? I'm going to look at the live betting odds too, because I do not bet on politics because I think it's super degenerate, but I do look at the odds just to try to see where the markets are at, because, you know, there's websites now that are like actually facilitating bets. So when you're losing money based on how people are betting, you really got to like pay attention to the odds, or else, you know, the company will go bankrupt. Still says RFK 72% to be confirmed. Let's see. It hasn't moved. Oh, actually, it moved down a percentage. It was like 73. Now it's like 72, but I don't know. Someone said 50 million condoms for Gaza. I thought it was fake. Gazans don't care for condoms culturally. Well, here's the thing too. Okay. Like, everybody knows what the right-wing think, not all right-wing people, but the Republican Party, like, obviously they're not like a big friend of Palestinians by any means, but this is the passive aggressive nature of the left. And I feel like Malcolm X nailed it, where he was like, the black liberal is my enemy because he's like passive aggressive. I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, the liberal's worse than the conservative. He's like, the conservative doesn't like you, but they'll tell you. The liberal pretends like they're your best friend and they stab you in the back. I mean, even look at Palestine. They're sending them condoms so the people there can stop reproducing. And then they're like, let's stop the war to give you a bunch of oral vaccines. Are those the same ones they used in Sudan? I hope not. I hope those aren't the ones they used in Sudan, because if you Google Sudan oral vaccine or Africa oral vaccine, UN, I'm not even going to read the headline because I'll probably get deleted off YouTube. But I believe the headline was something along the lines of like, more cases of polio are from the oral vaccine. I mean, that's a real AP headline. You can look at my Twitter. I have the proof. But in general, it's like, that's what the liberals do. They give Palestinians oral vaccines and condoms, and then the right wants to blow them up. Oh yeah, what a fun choice for these people. Feel terrible for them. But it's like, that's like the left. And if you look in America, not all, because there is some valid criticism, but this is why most Republicans, they sympathize. Well, there's a lot of reasons, and I would say like Christian reasons as well for a lot of like Zionists, but It's like you look at the level of the people protesting for Palestine in America. They're wearing pharmaceutical masks. They're like shit libs. You know what I'm saying? They want to give them condoms and vaccines. It's like, it's hard for anybody to like get on board with that and be like, oh, this looks like the right side. Like, I don't look at like, oh, that side says this, so I have to believe this. But most people will do that because if you look at, there's some valid people at the protest, but there's a lot of loser left wingers that are wrong about like 95% of what they say. So it's like, why would I think that they're right about one topic when they're wrong about literally everything, So, but for me, I know enough to have my own opinion. I don't take opinions from like Sean Hannity on one side. And, to me, the false dichotomy, it's like Sean Hannity and Mark Levin versus the blue-haired liberal. It's like, they're all lying, like, I don't know what to tell you, but I just told you what I thought. Thank you, Jerusalem McBear. Appreciate you. It's a cool name. Let's see. Someone said that Trump crypto coin pump and dump made America pretty great again. I want to look what that's at because, like, dude, that's so shameless of Trump to make a crypto coin. I mean, that's like embarrassing. He's like the Melania crypto coin. It's like, bro, you're a billionaire and you're the president of the United States. You got to make a freaking crypto coin? Like, that's so embarrassing. Like, I'm not, all these, like, Bitcoin makes sense. I'm not like a huge fan. Bitcoin makes sense algorithmically. There's a finite amount. You can't just Federal Reserve inflate it. It makes sense. Bitcoin makes sense. Some of the other ones kind of make sense, like the Trump coin. Really? The Trump coin? What's it at? 1 cent right now? Oh my gosh. Did it just crash? Let me see. Or no, it's at, let me look. I mean, I wouldn't say it like totally, it's not like completely crashed, but it's definitely down a lot. I mean, dude, if you buy a Trump coin, it's a gamble. You're either trying to make a lot of money or lose a lot of money because that's what's going to happen. Bitcoin makes sense. People don't understand the algorithm, but with Bitcoin, the amount of Bitcoin, I got to really think about it, but it's like, it's either a division or multiplication problem, but it's like amount of Bitcoin, market cap, which means the amount invested into it, and the price is all an equation. I think it's the price of Bitcoin is the amount of like market cap divided by the amount or something. I'd have to really think about it, but you could figure out the price of Bitcoin if you have those three numbers and plug them in. So it's like Bitcoin, the more people invest in it, the more it goes up. This is where I disagree with a lot of people in the Bitcoin community where they talk about charts and stuff. I understand on a short term you could read charts and predict certain things based on patterns, but the reality is, like, this is the truth about Bitcoin. It's a simple equation. The market cap goes up, the value goes up. The market cap goes down, the value goes down. Literally. So let's just say in general, the market crashes in America and people need to pull their money out of Bitcoin because they don't have money. Bitcoin crashes. This has happened multiple times. It's not random. No chart is going to tell you this unless you know when the American economy is going to crash and then people need to pull their money out. So I like Bitcoin. I think it's interesting. I'm not invested in it right now, but I do think it's interesting. But that's what it is. It's like, yeah, you could pretend to predict things, but the real prediction is, are more people going to invest in Bitcoin? The number literally goes up. Are more people going to pull their money from Bitcoin? The number goes down. That's what it is. But financially and libertarian wise and money system wise, the reason it's interesting is once they're all mined and they're all in existence, which they're not yet, there's that number can't change according to the algorithm, according to the system. So it's like Federal Reserve, they just print money and print dollars. Like, you can't do that with Bitcoin. So that's why people think it's valuable long term. It's like you have this money supply that cannot be inflated. That's the whole libertarian appeal to it, which I completely understand. It is an interesting idea, and I wish it well. But I find it interesting. I'm not like a Bitcoin bro where they're like, no, I know this and that. It's like, yeah, no, for sure. It definitely could go up. It definitely could be $1 million or $500,000, but also it could go down. It all depends on how many people are invested in it. Literally, that's how it works. So how's the book of mine coming along? I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses, but the last couple of years, I just felt so busy. I moved. I'm building a studio. I have more space. I got a place that I feel like is more comfortable and definitely not so cluttered. And I'm also going to try to work with people this year. And, have some people take some workload off of me in some extent. That sounded weird, but that's like, yeah, I'm going to try to finish it, but I can't make any guarantees. But I haven't, I've been like pulled in 20 different directions, so I haven't been doing it. Did I lose weight while I took hiatus? I don't know. I haven't stepped on a scale in a while. I don't think so. I don't think I have, but I have no idea if I have or I haven't. I could lose weight pretty fast. Like if I just like fast for 2 days, or if I just eat healthy and work out for a week, I like could lose like 10 pounds. So, but I'm trying to build muscle. It's almost completely crashed and was hacked in 2013, also 2019. I mean, I understand it. Like I said, when people pull their money out, it goes down. When people put their money in, it goes up. That's literally the equation. That's the math of it. Someone said, I would like to interview you with Johnny Gym Shorts. Dude, that guy's such a slob. And he's talking to me. Like, I don't dress up because I do a podcast, but if I want, anytime I go to Washington, I wear a suit. Like, that loser can't even wear a suit. Johnny Gym Shorts. We got Senator John Gym Shorts. We got Senator Sloppy John. The hunchback from Harrisburg. We got Ogre, Shrek Feder Shorts. I got a lot of nicknames for him. You can add to it. But people are like, no, you don't understand. He's just being himself. Dude, sit on the couch and watch the Steelers, you slob. Like, if you can't even wear a suit when you go to Washington, go home. And I understand there's a lot of losers in suits, but it's like, that doesn't make Gym Shorts John. It's like he's got like little like potato chip stains on his shorts. This is just who I am. You're so pathetic you can't put a suit on. Dude, what happens when you invite Senator Sloppy Feder Shorts to a wedding? Does he show up in like champion shorts and a freaking, like FUBU sweatshirt or something? It's like, bro, to each their own, but it's a wedding. You couldn't put on a suit for one day. That's what everyone else. I'm John Fetterman. This is just who I am. Then you're not invited. Go home. That guy is so annoying. It's like, he's just sloppy Steve over there. So embarrassing. That's just how he is. He's keeping it real. Okay, then you're not coming to the wedding. Keeping it real, wearing baggy, he dresses like he dresses like people used to dress in the 90s, wearing his little baggy shorts, trying to get a record deal. Anyway. Gym Shorts John sounds like he runs a beach stand. Someone said, my precious metals, I invest in lead, brass, and powder capped with a primer. It's an interesting investment. I mean, definitely like they use lead and brass to build a lot of things. So I see the value of that always being pretty valuable, but this is not investment advice, but yeah, that's an interesting one. Fetterman says he's too big to wear a suit. Bro, he's lying. How big is he? How tall is he? Let's see. He's not the only fat person in America. It's the United States of fat America. Everybody's fat here. Yeah, all other fat people can get suits, but not John Fetterman. Give me a break. How tall is he? Let's see. John Fetterman height. Oh, he's 6'8". Okay, he is pretty tall. I mean, dude, he could crowdfund a suit. Other tall people can get suits, but not him. Dude, if he put up a crowdfunding, I'm broke. I'm a loser. I can't afford a suit because I'm John Fetterman, even though I probably have money now. Pay me so I could put on a suit. Dude, I'd give him $50. I'd like, get a suit, loser. Here's money. He probably has more money than me, but I'll give him money anyway. Someone said he wore a suit for Netanyahu. I heard that, but did he really? Let me see. Fetterman. I got to look it up because people kept saying that suit. Netanyahu. Let's see. Fact check. Fetterman does not refuse to wear a suit except for Netanyahu. He wears suits on the Senate floor. Okay, so I guess he has to wear a suit on the Senate floor, so he wore a suit on the Senate floor when Netanyahu was there. I don't know that he was doing it for Netanyahu. I think he was just doing it because he does wear suits in the Senate. So, we try to be honest and accurate here because if you're not honest about then you lose. If you lose your word, you lose it all. Barron Trump is 6'9" and he can get a suit. They make suits for taller people. I'm sorry. It's not like that rare. I mean, also most suits are tailored anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like when I buy a suit, like they tailor them to you. You buy like a piece and then they like custom it to you. That's just like what they do. Someone said Italian silk is a good investment, especially if you take care of it. I want to start wearing silk because I think it's cool and healthy. How do you wash silk? Because I don't own it, but if I own silk, I'll probably like ruin it the first time I wash it because I don't know how to do it. How did Shaq ever get a suit? Because he's not a loser like John Fetterman. Yeah, Shaq can get 50 suits. He wears a suit every time he's on TV, but John Fetter shorts, Ogre McDaniels, Senator Sloppy Jim shorts, he just can't find them, but Shaq can. But John Fetterman, he just can't because he's just keeping it real. Whatever. Let's see. I'm going to just check out on RFK Jr. They're just talking for 5 hours. It's like, get to the vote, okay? I don't want to hear you guys talk. I want to hear me talk. No, I'm just kidding. You'd rock that silk? I like natural materials if I could get my hands on them. Someone said I sleep in silk pajamas because I'm so rich. Tell me in the comment section so I don't have to look it up. How do you wash silk? And then we'll move from there. Let's see if anybody answered me. You don't wash it? You're just dirty all the time? Oh, dry clean? Got you. I could look it up on AI. I'll use artificial intelligence to replace you guys. Don't worry. Fetterman needs a hospital gown. Dude, he needs some friends. Why do they talk for so long when you know they've already decided how they're going to vote? Emily, that's why I'm not watching it. It's like I'm going to watch for 5 hours. How many senators do you think are going to change their vote? I would guess 0. Like, it's all theater. It's like RFK is going to be like, I have to do a little bit of the voice, not to make fun of him, just to be accurate. He's like, the chronic disease is really high and, people are suffering, and they're going to be like, yeah, but raw milk causes disease. And, and they're going to be like, you're anti-vaxxer. And he'll be like, no, I'm not. I'm just against safe vaccines. And they're going to be like, no. And it's like, none of this, like, just vote. We know you're not changing your opinion. Like, someone's going to listen to RFK and be like, you know what? Now I'm going to vote for him. It's like, dude, you've heard him. How have you not heard him speak yet? You wash in cold water and air dry, somebody said. Oh, that's easy enough. Ask the servants how to wash silk. I don't have servants, but okay. They do in other countries, though. They literally do have servants in certain parts of the world, so not in America. Why do they talk for so long? Wait, hold on. Your suit comments seem silly. I'm sure they have tailor shops in DC. John Fetterman's just keeping it real. He's just like me and you, folks. It's like, dude, Congress is such a mess, man. It's a bunch of losers. Anyway, but let's get to it. Maybe we'll go like 10 more minutes. We'll keep it there. I'm not going to go the whole time that RFK is live because there's no point, but I just want to let people know. I'm going to repeat some things at the beginning if people didn't know, and then I will talk about the anti-Semitism things because I said I would. Kash Patel, according to odds, sorry, I got this thing on my lip now. I got to do it live. It's going to annoy me, but anyway, Kash Patel has a 90% chance over a 90% chance of getting confirmed. RFK, it says he has like a 70 to 75% chance of getting confirmed. Tulsi Gabbard's 50-50. That's going to be a really close vote. Hopefully she gets in. And, that's what it is. With what I talked about at the beginning, Trump is trying to pass an anti-Semitism executive order to essentially deport, anti-Semites, AKA, I guess, people who protest Israel on a college campus that are not citizens. And here's both sides of it, because I could tell you both arguments. Because one, I get both sides on this one because it has to do with non-citizens, but it gets a little deeper. So I'll just let you know. He wants to do it to non-citizens who they're arguing they're performing hate speech and they're protesting in a country that's not theirs, and they might as well just go home. I get it. I mean, I don't consider what they're doing hate speech. I don't think hate speech is even a real thing. But, if I was in Italy, like, I don't know that I'd be protesting, like, their politics when I'm there for, school for 4 years. That I understand that, to be honest. He also wants to pull federal funds from colleges that get federal funds if they allow for peaceful and legal, anti-Israel protests or protesting Israel. I don't know, anti-Israel. Some would say that, some would not. Depends how you view it. That, it is what it is. Instead of arguing with it, I'll just tell you what it is. It's like in America, it's harder to protest Israel than America. To me, that shows you like who runs this country, but you can't say that because that's also anti-Semitism, but it's also like kind of true. Because like, does Israel have rules that their students cannot protest Christianity? Does Israel have rules that they can't protest America since we're a cash cow for them and we give them billions of dollars every year? No, because Israel's not as dumb as America. America is a stupid country, really. I love this country, but I'm just saying it's like Israel doesn't have rules that you can't criticize a foreign country. Why would they? That's dumb. But America does. You could protest America in America easier than you could protest Israel in America. Trump's not passing an executive order that says that foreign people can't protest America. He's passing a rule that says foreign people can't protest Israel. He's passing a rule that states can't get funds if they allow for legal First Amendment protests to Israel. So he's using the power of the purse to stop protests at college campus because they go against some of his biggest donors and who butters his bread, even though it's anti-Semitism to say that, AKA literally true. So it is what it is. Like, I don't really care, no offense, about like foreign protesters. I get it. But a school, it is what it is. And then what makes it extra fascinating is when you read the actual anti-Semitism definition that you could find by Googling State Department defining anti-Semitism. Go to the State Department. That's the definition they're using, not just in America, but in Spain and in Germany and in Australia and in South America, all over the world, they mysteriously have the same global definition of anti-Semitism. That's why when you say the word globalist, when you're talking about global groups like the UN, et cetera, running the world, Klaus Schwab, the ADL will call you anti-Semitic. They'll say it's anti-Semitism when Trump talks about globalists. Why? I don't know, but they do. They think that the word globalism is an anti-Semitic slur, even though most people using it aren't talking about Israel. A lot of people using it support Israel, but they still consider it anti-Semitism. Anyway, maybe it's because there's global definitions of hate speech being passed in unison around the whole world. That seems a little weird. How are they able to get the same exact definition into dozens of countries? How is it criminalized in dozens of countries? Isn't that a little interesting? Why is the State Department on their website bragging that anti-Semitic acts are criminal in other countries? Our State Department is letting you know that it's a crime in other countries to commit certain acts of hate speech. It's a little weird, right? But even weirder, if you read the definition of anti-Semitism that they're passing through this executive order, it's a little weird. It's like you can't say that the people that must not be named run the media. You can't say that the people that must not be named run banking. But if you talk to people and historians, they'll tell you the history of banking. I'm not saying it's a nefarious thing, but there is a real history of banking. There is a reason that one ethnicity and one religion dominates banking. It's a historical reason that goes back hundreds or thousands of years to how they were able to make a living and make money when they were being, mistreated or kicked out or like, sent to ghettos. And like, there's real, you can read the history of banking and it's like, there's validity to it, but also it'll be considered hate speech to talk about it in any sort of form, because you can't say that one group dominates banking or runs the media or controls politicians. So now, like, for example, if you say AIPAC controls politicians or certain donors like Miriam Adelson, who are Jewish and Israeli and American, who pay money and then go on stage and say, I want Trump to do things for Israel, essentially. She says, I want this and that for Israel. Like, that's one of her biggest causes, obviously. It is what it is. Even if you're pro-Israel and you're like, hey, she pays and then gets Republicans to do things that she agrees with, that's technically considered anti-Semitism, even though it's true by definition, because you can't say that Jewish people are influencing politics and, but it's not to say that other people aren't or other industries aren't or other political PACs aren't, but only one of them has speech laws across the world to protect them from any sort of, I would say noticing or conversations about it. So it's like, that's one of the rules. You can't accuse any American Jewish citizen of dual loyalty. So if you said Barry Weiss or Ben Shapiro has dual loyalty, that's anti-Semitism by definition, even if you think it's true. I'm not saying you do, but if you did, that's anti-Semitism. You can't use classic anti-Semitic tropes like blood libel, including saying that the people that must not be named killed Jesus. So if you were to read certain passages of the Bible and interpret it a certain way and have the discussion, was it the Romans? Was it Jewish people at the time? Was it this? Was it that? That's anti-Semitism, because that's in the definition that Republicans are passing in America, and that's being passed around the world. Matt Gaetz noticed that, and now he doesn't get to sit in a position. Isn't that fascinating? He was replaced with Sam Bondi, who never said what he said and does the exact opposite. Isn't that just interesting? So, all of these things are just what it is. And, there's a two chapters, or I would say 2 verses in Revelation that talk about the synagogue of Satan. And it says, there are the people that must not be named, who say they are but are not. I will make them of the synagogue of Satan. This is now considered hate speech. On X, the free speech platform, this will get you flagged for hate speech. This is also, if you just said that in normal setting, like you just read the verse out loud, that would be considered by most Republican senators as anti-Semitism, because the Bible is now hate speech. So I could list 50 problems with labeling this hate speech and the definitions that they do. And I'll tell you, because some people will say, well, this is only for the Hamas supporters, and this is only for the foreigners, or this is only for the liberals. And, it's not true. I figured this out in 2019. You can go watch my videos on it. I'm not anti-Israel. I don't think they don't have a right to exist. To be honest, I'm very sympathetic when people die overseas in Israel and Palestine, because I hate war and I hate to see innocent people die. But I'm not really that concerned with their conflict. I'm not saying I'm not on one side or the other. People could say I'm on the Palestine side or whatever. I'm really not, though. It's I have deep sympathy for the people there, but it's not my country. Anytime and it doesn't mean I don't care, but it's I don't, it's not really my battle to care about 24/7. Other people it is. With that being said, all I've ever done when I've talked about anti-Semitism is the speech laws and the foreign lobbying. And when you talk about the speech laws being passed in America and you talk about the foreign lobby, no matter how nice you are, no matter how polite you are, no matter how honest you are, no matter how pro-Israel you are, you will be smeared as an anti-Semite by the press, by the Zionist media that they say you can't say is Zionist media, but it absolutely is, where they work, in some cases, not all, against the interest of America, against American citizens who talk about lobbying money, which is very odd and very anti-American. If you talk about the anti-Semitism laws, they'll call you an anti-Semite, because a lot of the people passing the anti-Semitism laws into America and around the world, they want anybody that notices to be deemed an anti-Semite. So the Republican that watches Sean Hannity and Mark Levin will say, anomaly, this is just for the really, really bad people. It's not. It's for anybody who violates those speech laws. And the speech laws include talking about media, talking about banking, talking about lobbying, talking about the Bible, talking about, citizens who have dual loyalty. Some do, some don't. Dave Smith doesn't have dual loyalty, and look who hates him. They hate Dave Smith because he's in America. He's an American Jew with loyalty to America. I know dozens of American Jews that are awesome, that have nothing to do with this political conflict. And it sucks that they're always getting dragged into this stupid nonsense. But it's in general, the truth is the truth about what the speech law says. It's like passing a George Floyd racism law and saying it's racism to talk about demographics. It's racism to talk about the crime rate. It's racism to stereotype black people. It's racism to do this. And it's if it's just an opinion, that's your opinion. If it's passed into law, now the First Amendment is being skirted around, because they are now trying to take a broad definition like racism and define it with 10 different instances. And that's what they're doing with anti-Semitism. But the thing is, it's a very powerful lobby. Sorry, I got to stretch a little bit, but I had a little crick in my neck. But it's a very powerful lobby. And it's a very powerful lobby that also has a lot of power in media that knows how to basically smear and blacklist anybody that notices that they're doing it, and tries to destroy your character so nobody likes you, and then replace you with somebody that plays ball. Like anybody that gets on Fox News a lot, 99% of these people are playing ball. If they didn't, they'd be kicked out. Look at the Daily Wire. Candace Owens has said a lot of controversial stuff, a lot of stuff. She's definitely very, I'm trying to think of the right word. She's very I wouldn't say aggressive. I would say assertive, but she likes to just go for it. Like, she's somebody that like you don't want to cross because she just goes for it. She's done this about 50 topics. Nobody cared. She's had the same attitude she has now her entire career. But the second she started weighing in on Israel, I understand that it was controversial and bothered people. Now she gets accusations with hate speech. Now it's just the words are too hateful. Now she can't work there. Now she's got like it's a very common trend, you know? I don't know what happened with Brett Cooper in the sense of like, I don't know what made her want to leave or whatever. I know that she doesn't have her channels. Like, she's got to start all new channels because the Daily Wire seems to own them or says they own them. But in general, it's like, you think she doesn't know and everyone doesn't know? Like, now she could probably say what she actually thinks, because when you work at companies like that, you're not like the whole Republican media sphere destroys people who speak the truth about this and then hires somebody that will shut up about it. And they all know. Like, Matt Walsh knows there's only certain, like, he could say, I'm against all foreign aid. Great, cool, I agree. But Matt Walsh knows, like, who he used to be when he used to write articles about the Israel lobby, that he needs to tone down a little bit, because then there's going to be some issues. You know what I'm saying? He's barking up the wrong tree a little bit. So it is what it is. But with the executive order, this is my personal opinion after I've explained it. I don't necessarily care that he's going to deport protesters in America from foreign countries, because you probably shouldn't be protesting in America when you're not from here, when you're just on a visa for school. With that being said, why is the number one thing they can't protest a foreign country and a foreign war? Why is it not America? Why does America have more rules for a foreign country and a group of people, a race and a religion, than for everyone else? Like, isn't it obvious what's going on to everybody? That's the weird part. But I don't really care what happens to the students, no offense, because it's like, it is what it is to me. When it comes to losing federal funding with the school, that's the topic. That's the no-no topic, right? What about all the other stuff they've been doing? And you look at a lot of these people like Bill Ackman and, Michael Rappaport, that Republicans are like, oh, they're getting so base. They're getting so Republican. They're so red-pilled. They're Zionists who realize that the right is better for their cause than the left. Like, when these people were shit libs and, it wasn't like, oh, now they've woken up to republicanism. No, the vehicle that's going to serve their interests the best is the right. That's why they're able to flip-flop from the left or the right, because they don't care about the left or the right. It's a vehicle to push their agenda. So it's like funding liberal schools. Why did they not notice 4 years ago? What about the illegal immigration? What about all the weird kid stuff? They were like, none of that crossed their threshold of like, I really care about this. And then the second that they protest Israel, now they're Republican because they know that Trump will shut it down. So it's like, people think they're not red pilled. They're just people that are able to play both sides. Same with Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss's entire existence, it seems like, is to con people into, serving the interests of certain foreign agendas. And people like Tucker Carlson notice this and talk about it. And then they get smeared as anti-Semitic. It's like, what? It's like they'll be what they need to be for the time in order to get their agenda and get people to agree with what they want outside of actual American conservative values or interests, but can't talk about it or else it's hateful. So it all is what it is. But yeah, I don't know about cutting federal funding for that, but this is the country we live in. If you're trying to get federal money, you're better off protesting America than Israel. If you're in America, you have to understand that there's multiple groups that are protected in some ways. You got like LGBT, you got certain races, etc. But, the lobby for Jewish and Israel and the speech laws, like it's a global phenomenon. Like it's a jail sentence in Germany. It's prison time in other countries. In Australia, it's illegal. It gets you banned from the country, like Candace Owens. And in America, we're hanging by our First Amendment thread. And this is what Republicans need to realize. The left is bad on the First Amendment, but Republicans are doing the same thing they're doing with anti-Semitism. If you're Jewish, if you're Israeli, if you like Israel, if you're Christian, you support Israel, you still have to understand that these laws are an infringement of the First Amendment to many extent. And also they're paving the way for hate speech rules and laws in this country. And I would say that they just create more tension. They just create more backlash. And when you treat people and just call them names all the time instead of debating with what they're talking about, it just creates more opposition. Like I would say, as somebody who noticed these speech laws in 2019, I was blacklisted essentially in 2019. And listen, I'm not trying to necessarily compare, but it's like I built what I built by myself. No corporate backing, just people support. I never used Daily Wire to build an audience. And while that's nice that people did, and Candace was big before she got to Daily Wire, but like with Brett Cooper, let's give an example. Daily Wire helped blow her up. It sucks that she's dealing with it, but they were a part of her success. And now she's moving away and they're being annoying. And it's like, it is what it is. She'll succeed because her brand is good. But it's like, I see it from both sides where it's like, I don't like what they're doing to these people. But at the same time, it's like, why not try to make it on your own? Everybody wants to use the power of these corporations. And then when they want to move away, it's like, oh, they're being oppressive to me. Like I never bent the knee. I never caved. I never signed a deal. Do you know how hard it is to build this big of an audience with none of that? It's nearly impossible. And all these people, they take the money, they do it. And then it's like, whoa, I don't like the concept. Then you should have done it on your own. But nobody wants to do it on their own because it's like nearly impossible. And you get more money doing it through the corporations. But anyway, it's like in 2019, when I noticed this stuff, I got blacklisted immediately and every opportunity in that world was shut down for me. So I couldn't make that money. I couldn't work at Daily Wire. I already knew this to some extent. Okay, whatever. I don't care. I made it on my own. I did my own thing. With that being said, there's 100 times more people that know it now than used to know it. Now on X, the majority knows what I'm talking about, and the minority is the people fighting against it. So how was the culture able to shift so far? It's because what I'm saying is true. Everything I just said over the last 20 minutes is true, and the truth ages well. So you can't fight the truth. No matter your race, your religion, your preference on Israel, if you're an American citizen, you have to understand the First Amendment conquers all. If you're pro-Israel, win the argument with truth. Not by saying it's hate speech to say that Ben Shapiro has loyalty to Israel. Not by saying it's hate speech to say that the Bible is anti-Semitic now. Because that's what the law does. That's what the rule does. And Christian Zionists don't even seem to notice or care because they're the biggest idiots, sellouts in politics. So it is what it is. But this is going to be a topic for a long time because hate speech is already criminalized in most of the Western world. America is one of the only countries where it's not criminalized, and there's a lot of money and a lot of influence hoping that it gets criminalized in America. And, I don't want to live in a country where the Bible is hate speech. I mean, I could talk about this a lot more, but there's a lot of angles to it. I'm just going to stick with the one I'm doing now, which is just the principle of it and the obvious ridiculousness of making statements that, in some cases are true, but it's now hateful and hate speech to make a true statement because it's just like so hateful. Go into the history of banking. I've had multiple people I've had an Israeli who lives in Israel on my show, and he talked about the history of banking and why his people dominated in banking. Everybody knows. It's like written history that you could probably learn about in college or in high school. It doesn't mean people are bad people, but it's like now I can't even say that this group dominates banking. It doesn't mean that that no one else does well in banking. There's plenty of, Gentiles, as they would say, that do well in banking as well. But there's also historical reasons that people do well. When it comes to pornography is absolutely dominated by them, and there's also historical reasons for that. Go to Wikipedia and look at what Al Goldstein said about white people and Christians. He did it to defile Christians. And, people like Howard Stern were blurring the lines of pornography and not pornography, putting it on entertainment, television, and radio. The lawyers that were suing to say that it's a First Amendment right, the entire industry is owned, dominated by a certain group of people. It just is what it is. You could say it's right. You could say it's wrong. You could say you like it. I don't care, but I don't think it should be hate speech in America to have a conversation about it. And even now, you know what the owner of OnlyFans does? According to Rolling Stone reports, he donates to AIPAC. So the leader who runs OnlyFans, which is the biggest pornography site or one of them in America right now for amateur pornography, he's donating to the Israel American, PAC. Okay, so that's what he's doing. Can I talk about it? I don't know, because it could be a hate speech violation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's like crime rates. Just to equate it to something else controversial, there is factual data about crime rates and ethnic groups and gender. To be honest, too, men are committing most crimes. Is it anti-man to say that? Is it anti-race to talk about it? No. Like, these words don't mean anything. You're a racist. What does that mean? It means a million different things to a million people. What is anti-Semitic? It means a lot to a lot of different people, but the only definition that really matters is the definition that's being passed into law. And here's another thing too. For someone like me, right? I've worked my whole life in media to try to build a brand. If the press smears me as anti-Semitic 20,000 times and says I'm an anti-Semitic YouTube channel, blah, 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 and tries to ruin my business, now the law of America is on their side. I don't know, I'm not following Candace Owens' lawsuits, but it's like if she gets in a lawsuit with somebody and they say that she's smearing them and she says that they're smearing them, the working definition of anti-Semitism that I just goes in, it's used in law now in some cases. It's used in schools. It's used in executive orders and bills and states. So it's like, it's like I don't care what people say to some extent, but it's like manipulating the law then to lie about you legally, essentially, and be like, well, technically I'm not lying because we now have a definition of this word now, It's like if you call Tucker Carlson a racist, sexist, xenophobe, like, I guess you can, but it's like, it's a lot different if you pass it into law. So then you can publish articles with it and get away with it more, and skirt the defamation laws more. And I don't care about that because I'm not lawsuit happy. I'm just saying it's like there's a real deep-seated game going on with finances, with free speech, et cetera. And most people are unaware because most major Republican media is like so Zionist that they, in my opinion, prioritize it over America, prioritize it over our Constitution. If you're Christian, prioritize it over Christianity. They're brainwashing you into supporting a law that makes your Bible illegal. You want to talk about evil? Brainwashing Zionist Christians to support a law that makes their holy scripture hate speech on a federal and state level and passing that definition into America, and you bought it because you're listening to Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, and these other dingbats that'll never tell you what I just told you. It's like, this is why the West can't do anything. It's like, why is our countries falling apart? Because people are weak and dumb. I don't know. That's what happens to weak and dumb people. You lose. So it's just like, do you want to not lose? Then you got to figure this out and be like, you know what? We can support our great ally without subverting our First Amendment. We can support our great ally without outlawing our holy scripture. And if you're not smart enough to do that, then maybe you are dumb. It's like maybe certain people are right about you if you can't figure that out. Like if you're that dumb that you outlaw your own holy scripture because you listen to Zionist media, then you deserve to lose, And this is why people, like, when they talk about Israel, like, there's definitely like challenges that Israel faces, but it's like their intelligence community is really smart. Their technology is good, and they have a knack for outsmarting other people around them. Like it's going to be hard for the people around Israel to beat Israel because they're crushing them with technology and intelligence. And when it comes to America, I'm not going to say they're crushing America, but it's like the Republican Party that does not even understand what I just said. So it's like, I'm not like, these people are not going to lose to that. Like they're not going to lose to like a Christian who's going to outlaw their own Bible in the name of like Lindsey Graham. Like that's like, they're not going to lose to that. So it's pretty wild. Someone said, Anomaly, how much of our country is controlled by elite secret societies? Well, if everybody knows about it, it's not so secret. But I mean, people could speculate, and there's definitely like connections to stuff. But what I would say is 30 years ago, everything was like so mysterious, and like and conspiracy theories were like so interesting because it's like, is that happening? Is it not? With the internet, with transparency, with where we're at, to me, it's all right out in the open. Like it's not even, nothing's really that secret anymore. It's not like 2002 where you have to like guess and like watch a YouTube video like for 2 hours to go down like the rabbit hole. to me, like everything's so transparent. It's so obvious. It's so in our faces. So I'm sure there's certain things that are still going on that are somewhat secret, but I feel like, in my personal opinion, like I'm not as interested in that sort of stuff as I was 20 years ago. Cause now everything that I thought was secrets, like right in my face, and it's easy to connect the dots without like making it this mysterious, like I don't know what it is. It's like, I'm pretty sure I get it, but let's see. Someone said, "My strength is in God. He will judge all sinners if they don't repent." I hear. I'm just doing political analysis. I'm not trying to preach here, but I'm just trying to explain it. I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I do feel like I explain it really well and clearly. That's my goal. It's not to like be emotional about it. It is what it is. I'm just trying to be as like clear as possible, because like when you break it down properly, like it's pretty obvious what's going on, and it's not in the benefit of our nation. But there's a whole nother conversation to be had about it. But I don't feel like making this whole live stream about it. I said I'd talk about the executive order. I did. That's what it is. Would I do Jake Shields' podcast? Yes. Yeah. I probably will this year. I just gotta get there. But I've known Jake for years. Like before he was even talking about the stuff he's done now, like I was friends with him. So yeah, I like Jake as a person a lot, actually. So outside of like what he's saying in his podcast and stuff, like I'm gonna go on the podcast sometime, but we've been friends for a couple of years now. I would like to get on the Hodge Twins podcast too while I'm there, because they're pretty funny. They're really funny, actually. When are we getting more God is Great sweaters? If anything, probably like in 6 or 7 months, because I got a few things to do, but my priority would be to get those before Christmas or winter. Anomaly, what do I do to search the video of you interviewing the Israeli about a banking system? I didn't interview an Israeli about the banking system. I had a conversation I wouldn't even call it a debate, because we weren't really arguing that much. I had a conversation with an Israeli, and the banking thing just came up, and I just recall him being like, yeah, historically we do well in banking because, like we were doing banking to survive and to make money when we were being like, relegated to ghettos, and the Romans, or maybe not the Romans, the Catholics at the time wouldn't do banking because usury, they didn't want to do usury, but the population of Jewish people didn't have that in their religion. Like he mentioned something about that, but I'm trying to think of his name. I got to think of his name. I had a conversation. I actually enjoyed it. I mean, he had an interesting perspective. He's super Israeli, and he was saying that he thinks that all Jews should go to Israel, which is like, I never heard that before. I mean, I guess I have, but not like on a podcast from somebody in Israel. He was like, I think people should start coming to Israel. I was like, dang, that's great. That's wild. I'm not, that was his idea. Somebody in the comments, let me know. Rudy Israel, I think his name was. That conversation's on YouTube. I think it was a great chat. Honestly, I enjoyed it thoroughly. So it was probably like a year and a half ago now. Why are all my posts down? I mean, do I have to check and see that they're not? I don't know. My posts are down. Did I get deleted from? I mean, I don't think my posts are down. I'm sure they're there. Let's see. Yep, they're all there. Why do people just make stuff up when I'm live? They're like, dude, your Facebook. It's like, it's right there. It's like, it's okay. Read a few more. Have I heard about the Alexander brothers from Israel? I have not. People are saying stuff in the comments. I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not like, I said what I said. I meant what I said. I explained it thoroughly. I don't really feel like elaborating. Like I feel like I was pretty clear. Make my hoodies with zippers. No, I don't like zippers. I like the sweatshirts the way they are. I mean, I have things with zippers, but I'm pretty satisfied with this my sweatshirts, and everybody loves them, so I'm not gonna do that. All right. Any last thing? We'll check out the RFK stuff real quick. Let me see if he got confirmed or not. Let's see. So far, nothing. I'm going to look at the odds real quick, see if they change just based on the confirmation. And then I'm probably going to, a couple more minutes and we're gone. Okay, so right now it says RFK is a 77% chance of getting confirmed, which means the odds have shifted in his direction, in his favor, over the last 2 hours. So I don't know what happened in the last 2 hours. Maybe some people do it, they watch. That's a good news. I mean, awesome. So RFK is more likely to get confirmed now than he was an hour and a half ago, which is awesome news. I love that. Did I see James O'Keefe's hidden camera interview with the White House employee, basically confirming everything we think about the deep state? I have not. I haven't seen it, to be honest, but I'm not shocked. Hold on, let me read that one. What did it say? Hold on. Would you say you were on to Vivek being a phony before most other conservatives caught on? The first time I heard Vivek was before he was super, super popular, and he was like just starting to become popular. It was before I would say most people heard about him. Someone sent me a video of Vivek, like before he became like a real thing, but he was on the come up and on the move. And my first gut reaction to myself, not publicly or to anybody, was, I don't like this guy. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like his energy. I don't trust him. I don't believe him. It's like somebody saying things that I agree with, that I just don't feel the energy. I don't feel the spirit. I don't feel the authenticity. It sounds like, it just sounds like a rehearsed, like he talks like a news anchor. He talks like most politicians besides Trump. It's like it never resonated with me, and I never liked it from day one. Months before I said anything publicly, months before I disagreed with something he said or looked into his pharmaceutical stuff. I didn't even know he was a big pharma billionaire, but I listened to him. I was like, yeah, I don't like this guy or trust him at all. Like this, I would never listen to this guy or like buy into anything he's saying. And then I Googled, and then I was like, wait, he's a pharmaceutical billionaire? So then it's like my instinct told me not to trust anything he said. One Google search said he's a pharmaceutical billionaire. It's 2022. We just lived through COVID. Like, this is like an IQ test and an EQ test, if people believe in that. It's like from that moment on, I was like, no, like for this election, the last person I'm going to listen to is a pharmaceutical billionaire who talks like Barack Obama, who I didn't know who he was 3 weeks ago because he made nothing profound or interesting that caught my attention through the COVID lockdown tyranny. Like, why am I the only one that could come to this conclusion? You're saying we're still in the midst of pharmaceutical tyranny, and you're going to go to a pharmaceutical billionaire who didn't catch your radar for the first 2 years of COVID? It's like to me, I'm not even like proud of it, because I like to treat others the way I want to be treated. And I don't want to seem like I hate Vivek, because, I hope he does well and God bless the guy. But it's like, to me, like that was so obvious. So yeah, I do think I figured it out before most conservatives, because it's so obvious. In my opinion, no matter how great he is at what he does and stuff, you're an idiot if your go-to is a pharmaceutical billionaire. And then let me get to the next part, because this just shows you how easy it is to brainwash and manipulate Republicans. It's embarrassing. Okay. What was the number one thing that people didn't like about Mike Pence? Mike Pence is an establishment politician, blah, blah, blah. People don't like that. But there was one thing in particular that people said, that's it with Mike Pence. He's done. His political career is done. It was January 6th. On January 6th, Trump, in my opinion, I don't even agree with a lot of conservatives on this, but for different reasons than Mike Pence. And I'll say it because I believe what I say, and I say what I believe. I'm not going to sugarcoat things just to please people because they're pissed off on one day. But it's like, he comes out and Mike Pence says, Trump made the wrong move on January 6th. We need to confirm the votes, etc. Vivek Ramaswamy, he went on television and he said he cried on January 6th. And then he wrote a book in 2022. He wrote a book comparing Trump to Stacey Abrams and said that Mike Pence did the right and honorable thing against a sore loser, Donald Trump. So it's like, even off, not my logic, because I'm not the one that agrees with all conservatives on everything, but against own conservatives' logic, all these same Republicans that said Mike Pence is done because of his January 6th stance then said Vivek Ramaswamy should be vice president. The pharmaceutical billionaire who said he cried on January 6th and wrote a book saying Mike Pence was right, calling Trump a sore loser in 2022, 2 years after January 6th, or a year and a half after January 6th. That's who you want to be vice president? I'm a logical person. I said, let Vivek run for the House. Let him run for governor. I don't care. Give him a position. I'm not trying to stop his political career because he is he says cool things. But you want to give the vice president to a pharmaceutical billionaire after the COVID lockdowns because you're mad at Mike Pence and Vivek has almost an identical stance on January 6th? Like, this is how dumb certain Republicans are. I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just being friendly honest. Like, that, you're an idiot. And this is like millions of Republicans because they're, I don't pay attention. I just watch the news and I like talkers. Like, it's like the whole thing never made any sense. And then it's like, okay, pharmaceutical billionaire, let's do a little bit of research, take 5 minutes to see how he made all this money. Buying a failed GlaxoSmithKline drug that he pumped, the stock's up to hundreds of dollars. He used his mom for the trials to say that they were going to work. And then the FDA ended up shutting it down and the stock went from the hundreds to under $1. But he says nobody lost any money. It's like, yeah, stocks go from $180 and go down to $0. And then it's like, oh, everybody got their money back, blah, blah, blah. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not trying to like fact check and really dive into it, but I just like, I don't know. I find that kind of weird, but whatever. I don't have the capacity nor the really inspiration to even care that much about it, to look that hard into it. But it's like, are people dumb? So, I think he slipped up a little bit with his tweet, but it's like, everybody will be revealed eventually. And I'm not saying he's necessarily a horrible person, but it's like, I can't listen to the guy talk. Like, my spirit tells me, like, I don't like the way he talks. I don't like how he sounds. Now that he got, a lot of backlash, now he sounds like the same version of him before, but a little bit angrier. Like, if you watch him now, when he goes on Jesse, he definitely has like way more mad vibes. But the thing is, like, it's good to be calm and you don't want to overreact emotionally, but nobody just smiles all the time. It's like, I'm always happy. I don't care what you say. Like, it's all an act. So it's like, when I'm on and I'm really pressing him and stuff, I'm not asking him to get pissed off at me. I know you're supposed to maintain your cool, but his whole spiel of like, smile, I have nice teeth. Like you could see right through that. So it's like, now he's on Jesse Waters talking about, I stepped away from it, but he's a little bit madder. I stepped away from Elon Musk. I stepped away from Doge. And Jesse's like, what happened? He's like, we didn't see eye to eye. So my take from it, just listening to Vivek talk about it, him and Elon didn't see eye to eye. And either he has two options: play your role, because Elon Musk is a huge donor. He's also Elon Musk. He's a bigger billionaire. He's richer than you. He's more interesting than you. He's more authentic than you. Everybody likes Elon Musk more than you. Like, I like Elon Musk more than Vivek still. But it's like, so Vivek could have just played his role and been like, I'm happy to be here because Trump gave me a position and I got to follow Elon's lead. But it looks like they didn't see eye to eye, and then he left. So it's like, Mr. I'm going to cut government programs down. He didn't even last a single day in the position that he probably didn't deserve anyway, and that I didn't even want him to be in, because he's talking about, we need to slash regulations for pharmaceuticals. Why? Because your drug didn't get approved by the FDA? You're like, is that your agenda now? Like he said, that's the number one thing I'm concerned about when it came to like pharmaceuticals. I watched this tweet and he's like, this is like the biggest problem with the industry. And it's like, MAGA, make America healthy again. We don't consider that a top 5 problem. I understand it's a problem, but it's not top 5. But it is to somebody whose drug didn't get approved, that made $1 billion in pharmaceuticals. So it's like, I never even wanted him to be there in the first place, although I was interested to see what he could do. But he didn't last a day because he didn't get along with Elon Musk. And now it's like he learned the hard way. It's like, this guy, no offense, but it's like Republicans rolled out the red carpet for him way too quickly. You guys made him famous. You put him at every speech. You put him everywhere. He's whining and dining with everybody. And then he can't even last a day with Elon Musk and play his role. And now he's running for the governor of Ohio. But it's like, I see right through his shtick. I'm not saying he's an unimpressive person or whatever, but like, I like people that talk authentically. I like people that I could feel when they talk. When I listen to Tucker Carlson rant about America, I could feel it. When I listen to someone like Jeffrey Sachs he had on, or even Mike Benz, or the Thomas Massey, Rand Paul when he talks about something, Ron Paul when he talks about something, Dave Smith when he talks about something, Candace Owens when she's in the zone, like anybody, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I can name dozens of people who, like, when they're in the zone, you could feel the passion. You could feel that they believe what they're saying. You could feel that they're like really about it. I don't feel that when I listen to him. I feel like Obama. It's like, like everything he says is like that. There's no soul. There's no spirit. There's no energy that feels authentic. It feels like a predetermined, like this is what I'm saying. These are the talking points. And it just doesn't hit with, it never hit with me. So, yeah, I definitely knew before everybody else, but I'm not even proud of it. Anybody that's Republican that lived through COVID-19 and is mad at Mike Pence over January 6th should, instead of being like impressed by me and be like, wow, Anomaly knows a lot, he's so smart, be embarrassed for yourself for wanting a pharmaceutical billionaire who said he cried on January 6th to be vice president. If you cry when you see January 6th on television, you're not emotionally stable enough to be the president of the United States. You cry when there's a tragedy. Imagine if Donald Trump or even Joe Biden looked at January 6th and just started crying. Like, what are you, a 5-year-old? Are you like a woman? Like, I'm sorry, but it's like, you're not like, and to be honest, that's if you believe he actually cried on January 6th. If you don't believe that he cried, then why is he lying on television? And if he's willing to lie about crying on January 6th, what else is he willing to cry about? You know what I didn't do on January 6th? I didn't cry. Do you know why? Why would I cry? I don't, like, even if I thought it was like the craziest thing in the world, do you think I would cry? There's tragedies that have happened that are like brutal that I didn't cry for. You know what I'm saying? And then other ones that I do, it really hurts my heart, but it's like, you cried for that? Really? Yeah. Do you think I cry? Like, think about this. I lived in Los Angeles when the George Floyd riots were occurring. Do you think I cried? Multiple people died. Billions of dollars of property damage. Places that I liked went up in flames. Did I cry? No. Do you know what I did? I called an Uber and I Ubered to Orange County because I was frightened. I wouldn't say I was frightened, but I was strategically concerned for my well-being. So I got out of there. And do you know what I didn't do one time on the way there? Cry, or even think about crying, because no man cries at time of, action. It's just like so stupid. But yeah, I mean, I still think that he will do some stuff, but this is, like, in my opinion, it's like this guy ran for president to get attention. He got attention, and then he just got invited everywhere, booked everywhere to speak. It's like, do people have no standards? They just want anybody in the movement at any time. Like, just because he talks, he says good words. Like, there's people, there's shit libs who graduated from like Columbia University that can put big words together and say things. It doesn't mean I want to listen to him speak on a stage. Like, I get he says things that people agree with, but I don't know. When he was running, I saw him talk about Israel stuff a lot. And then I just saw him on a podcast with Aiden Ross, or I just saw the clip, and he's like, AIPAC, yeah, they lobby people, but so does everyone else. And they're actually way more transparent than most. It's like, I don't care if he says that or not. It does. whatever. But that's not what he was saying when he was. It's like, you can't trust somebody that tries to pretend like they're everyone all the time. It's like, I'm just like you. I'm just like you. When he's with pro-Israel people, he's like, I'm pro-Israel. We got to destroy Hamas. We got to get them, put their heads on stakes. And then when he's with, like, the Candace Owens type, he's like, yeah, the Israel lobby's out of control. It's like, I get it. Both sides, it's good to get along with people, but I feel like, I don't know. To me, I just never believed anything personally, but I don't, I wish the guy well. I hope he has a great career and, whatever, but that's just how I feel personally. I never Yeah, look up the video of him. He was on television. He goes, when I saw this, I cried. I actually cried. It's like, really? Let me see if I have it saved. Hold on. I actually might have it saved, but I might not. Let me look. No, I don't. But you could, if you look hard enough, you could find it. Just search Vivek cried January 6th on Twitter. You'll find it. I could probably play the audio if you guys really want. Here, I'll play the audio and I'll put my microphone up to it. Let me see. Hold on. Got you. It's actually a really funny clip. I could download it and upload it, to be honest. Let me see. I might just do that. Let's see.
And I saw.
Yeah, I'll just upload it. Just give me 1 second, and then we'll keep it moving. Twitter to MP4. Download, then we upload, then we download. That's the name of the game. All right, so I got to entertain myself, or else it gets boring out here. All right, let's see. I feel like this is like the funniest video. And then like months ago, people were like, "Oh, it's just." I'm like, it's not. Like I'm not like crying about everybody's little mistakes, but like to me, this is not like a mistake. Like this is who you are,
And I saw the disgrace that unfolded at the footsteps of the Capitol on January 6th. I cried. I was in tears when I watched on television that day.
I cried, and I blink a lot because I cried because I'm totally telling the truth because I cried.
And I saw the disgrace that unfolded at the footsteps of the Capitol on January 6th. I cried. I was in tears when I watched on television that day.
And at the time he's selling his books, I mean, I don't know if it was out at the time, probably not, but he wrote a book after that and said that Trump was a sore loser like Stacey Abrams and Mike Pence did the honorable thing. But he cried. I cried. I cried when I saw that. Yeah, grown man. You looked at your TV and saw a bunch of like MAGA moms freaking out and a bunch of Trump supporters freaking out. And you're like, our democracy. If our democracy doesn't stay intact, how am I going to do pharma schemes? Okay, so a grown man cried. That's embarrassing. That's like you're not fit for leadership because we can't have a president crying when something happens. If he didn't cry, which is the most likely scenario, he didn't cry because why would you look at a television and cry when they show you footages of protests and people like pushing, like police barriers, like, oh, it's like the BLM things are happening. I didn't shed one tear because I'm not a baby, but I didn't agree with it. But it's like, okay, let's just say he didn't cry. Then he's lying. So what else? If you're able to look at a television and blink a lot and lie, then what else are you willing to lie about? Like it's either you're embarrassing or you're lying. You cry all day? What a quitter, someone said. Yeah, I'm crying now. I cried.
And I saw the disgrace that unfolded at the footsteps of the Capitol on January 6th. I cried. I was in tears when I watched on television that day.
I cried. I blinked and I cried. Look how many more times he blinks and he shuts his eyes. Eyes are the window to the soul. So it's like when you're doing something that is like not true, a lot of times people like close their eyes a lot. Like if you've ever noticed like some of the most psychopaths you ever see, they're always like they'll literally close their eyes and talk for 20 seconds. They'll be like, and you're like, is what you're saying so ridiculous that your soul won't even like let your eyes stay open? I don't get it.
And I saw the disgrace that unfolded at the footsteps of the Capitol on January 6th. I cried. I was in tears when I watched on television that day.
It's like, I cried. Okay. You cried? Really? Because I was like, I don't know. I wonder if, never mind. Let's move on. Let's see how RFK is doing. Our buddy RFK. Let's see if the odds have changed. Ooh, RFK is now up to 79% odds. Wow, Kash Patel's at 89%. So RFK, it's looking good, folks. I mean, once again, this is just a rough estimate, but if he started at a 73% chance and he's at a 79, it means that the Senate hearing, like they're sucking in all the data because they're trying to balance out the books essentially and not lose too much money. I think it's crazy that you could bet on politics. Like that's not like people got to bet on everything. Like betting on sports, okay, you bet on horses, you gamble. Yeah, you got to freaking bet on politics. Oh, dude, is RFK going to get confirmed? It's like, do we have no shame in this country? Like, it's ridiculous. But what I like about the odds are like, it just at least gives you like more intel, and they care more than people like polls. Polls are like, I asked 500 people. It's like, cool, bro. They care more because they have money online. But anyway, why can't I see current content? I don't know. Do you want me to call him Zuck? Yo, Zuck. Hey, Anomaly, what's going on? Dude, everybody on Facebook wants to know like why they can't see new videos and you're showing them like 2021 content. I don't know what's going on. Hold on, man. I'm doing jujitsu. Okay. I got you. Hold on, man. I'm doing jujitsu with Israel Adesanya and Volkanovski. We're on a yacht. We're doing jujitsu on a yacht. Sounds a little gay, bro, but I mean, I get it. On a yacht, I don't know. That's a little gay, but you know, at the same time, listen, we're all one or whatever. Yeah, hold on. I'm saying, let me look. Let me talk to the liberals who work there. We're getting hacked by China, and we got to start a war with Iran. Are you sure? Yeah. That's why they can't see it. We got to beat up Iran for Israel. I mean, for America. I mean, for Israel. I mean, for America. I mean, oh my gosh, I just committed an anti-Semitic act. Oh my gosh, Trump's gonna arrest me. Okay, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you on your yacht, bro. I got you. Sounds like I don't know. There's a malfunction or something. Just wait like 30 minutes. We should be good. Someone said Trump 500 billion AI to track us and Wallace to keep us in. They don't need $500 billion of AI to track you. They're already tracking everyone. So it's like they don't need like. I'm not for the $500 billion AI like vaccine. What like I have my issues with it as well. But it's like people like they're like, oh, dude, they're gonna do it to build the wall and track us in, bro. Phones, they already have everything. They don't need more. They have everything. They give you ads for things you just thought about right now. You can just think about something and they'll give you an ad for it. I don't know how. I don't know what's going on, but it's like they don't need that to do that. Could that happen? I guess, but it's like they don't need to do that. To do that. I think it's more about beating China in AI. Our economy, not entirely, but like a large portion of our economy and the stock market is now based off of AI and companies like Nvidia and others. So, you know, they want to win the AI war. I'm not saying everything they're going to do is right, but there is legitimate reason to try to win the AI war because it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry moving forward. So they're probably just trying to compete with other countries. But some of the freaks at the companies are like, we'll make vaccines with them. It's like, all right, bro, relax. You know, like we don't want your ideas right now. Someone said they got the baby oil with them right now. Dude, I mean, if your yacht doesn't have 100,000, bottles, it's like they talk about like a Diddy and stuff. It's like imagine there's like a billionaire where it's like his yacht sinks because there's so much baby oil on it, it can't float. It just like sinks. They're like, he's like, I just thought 100,000 bottles of baby oil. Like I figured that was like enough. And they're like, you can't put that much weight on a yacht. He's like, I didn't know, dude. Someone's got to do it. So now everyone else knows it's too many. 100,000 is too many. I'm just kidding. But someone said because all right. Let's take off. Appreciate you guys, folks. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. So, I'm just going to give you all an update before we leave. As of now, and once again, these are just rough odds, but they're giving you a picture of how likely it is or not. Tulsi Gabbard has like a 50% chance of it's going to be really hard for Tulsi to get, not really hard, but 50-50. You know what that means. Kash Patel's at like an 89, 90% chance. He's almost definitely going to get in. RFK's up to a 79% chance, 78%, just went down a little. I mean, it's better than where he started, which was 73%, but the market is guessing that RFK is going to get confirmed. And that's all that really matters. I mean, of course, the entertainment and the back and forth is interesting, like political stuff is interesting, but that's my thoughts today. Like I wanted to do a live stream and talk about some stuff. And, it's like, I get it. Like they're going to talk. But at the end of the day, what I'm concerned about and what millions of people really want is RFK to get in. Him at HHS is pretty epic. And, I really am looking forward to him getting confirmed. That's a huge that's a huge game changer. And you have to understand too, he is going to be like, there is going to be a lot of obstacles for him, even if he gets in, because there's going to be people around him. And also, like, you know, there's a lot of ways for the health industry to try to resist the changes that he probably wants to make or the things that he wants to look into. So it's going to be an ongoing issue, even if he gets in, and just something to pay attention to. I would say for the most part, Nicole Shanahan, I believe is her name. She seems very authentic. And, you know, I would just listen to what they're saying, because I'm guessing Nicole has a little bit more freedom to talk than RFK. And, you know, she seems to let people know when weird stuff's going on. So, you know, there's other people as well. I'll try to stay up to date on it and let you guys know things as well. But yeah, I hope he gets in. And that's the live stream for today. I will have, I mean, let me guys know what you think of this mic. It's not bad. It's like a blue microphone. It's not an advertisement, but I will say this though, and I'm just being honest. One of the guys recognized me from Blue Microphone at the NAMM show like 4 years ago, and they gave me a free microphone. I bought this one, but and I bought in a few just because they're good microphones to go and they're USB. But they did give me a free microphone because they recognized me. So shout out to them. That's, you know, they didn't ask me to do this, but I always appreciate people that appreciate me and do cool stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna get my actual like more professional microphone set up, so it should sound better in the next couple of days. But these ones are not bad. Appreciate you guys. God bless you. Have a good day, and I'll be back soon. Check out dreamrare.com if you want to get a beanie like me, and check out dreamrarelinks.com for all my other links. Thank you.
Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk for $5 a month. You can help support me, support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description, or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying, so I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/dreamrarechat or @dreamrarechat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. DreamRareChat at Telegram. My Instagram is @DreamRare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And DreamRareLinks.com. That's DreamRareLinks.com. Has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at DreamRareLinks.com. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. You already know